Chapter 875. Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Looking at Wu Yongjun and the others, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He took out a green talisman from his Qiankuan bag. As soon as the green talisman was taken out, it exploded with a shocking aura. This aura was enough to make a beginner-level Abhijna powerhouse pale. Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman. Under Emo Qingyun's control, the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman turned into an icy sword light and blasted towards Wu Yongjun and the other man. Wherever the icy sword light passed, a layer of ice condensed on the grass and trees, emitting a shocking chill. Under this shocking chill, Wu Yongjun and the others were shocked, and their movements became a little sluggish. What kind of treasure is this? It actually has such a terrifying power. Feeling the chill from the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman, Wu Yongjun and the others' expressions changed. A sense of shock rose in their hearts. The technique that Emo Qingyun displayed at this moment once again shattered their understanding, causing them to be extremely shocked in their hearts. Retreat. Looking at the rapidly approaching icy sword light, Wu Yongjun and the others did not dare to continue forward. They prepared to retreat to avoid the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman. However, the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman's speed was too fast for them to dodge. In the blink of an eye, the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman caught up with them. Let's block this icy sword light together. Seeing the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman approaching, Wu Yongjun did not dare to be careless. He immediately reminded the people beside him. Okay. Hearing Wu Yongjun's words, Tang Mintao and the others nodded and joined forces to block the Ice Sword Heart-Piercing Talisman's attack. Sword Spirit Tiger Portrait appear. Ice Eye Demonic Ape Portrait appear. Gale God Wolf Portrait appear. For a moment, Wu Yongjun and the others did not dare to hold back and took out their Big Dipper portrait. Once the Big Dipper portraits were taken out, they controlled the Big Dipper portraits to block in front of them. At the same time, under the control of Wu Yongjun and the others, the Big Dipper portraits turned into the shape of demonic beasts and erupted with a terrifying aura. When a martial artist broke through to the Heaven Realm, he could integrate his martial soul into the Heaven Dipper picture and condense his own life Heaven Dipper picture. In fact, this was an improvement in the use of the martial spirit. It allowed the martial spirit to change from an illusory state to a physical state. This allowed the martial spirit to become even more powerful. 500 pounds. As the Big Dipper picture of Wu Yongjun and the others collided with the icy sword light, a crisp sound was heard. Immediately, a thick layer of ice condensed on the Big Dipper portraits of Wu Yongjun and the others, and they were frozen bit by bit. As the Big Dipper picture was frozen, the expressions of Wu Yongjun and the others began to turn pale. Traces of frost condensed on the surface of their skin. Then, Wu Yongjun and the others realized that their bodies were slowly becoming numb. So cold. This icy sword ray is so terrifying. Tang Shirtao's body trembled as he uttered these words. His expression was one of fear and remorse. If he had known this would happen, even if he was beaten to death, he would not have chased after Emo Qingyun. In an instant, without waiting for Tang Shirtao and the others to calm down, they saw the icy sword light spinning rapidly. As the icy sword light slowed down and spun, a small hole was pierced in Wu Yang's Big Dipper picture, and it slowly collapsed. Poof! The Big Dipper picture was connected to Wu Yang's mind. At this moment, the Big Dipper picture was damaged, so naturally, Wu Yang's mind was injured. Bang! Another crisp sound was heard. Only to see Wu Yang's Big Dipper picture, under the impact of the cold ice sword light, was like a piece of glass that was smashed to pieces in an instant. The Big Dipper picture was shattered, and Wu Yang spat out blood again. The aura on his body weakened rapidly, and became no different from an ordinary person. Brother Wu Yang. Seeing Wu Yang's miserable state, Wu Yongjun was shocked and grabbed Wu Yang's shoulder. However, the current Wu Yang was like mud. There was no strength in his body, and his whole body became limp. It seemed that even if he was lucky enough to survive today, he would most likely be a cripple in the future. Plop! When Wu Yongjun released his hand, Wu Yang fell to the ground and lay motionless like a dead dog. Wu Yongjun, this kid's methods are strange. We must leave here immediately. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will all die here today. Tang Wentao didn't dare to hesitate in the slightest after witnessing the power of the ice sword Qi and instructed Wu Yongjun. As Tang Wentao finished speaking, he took out a black elixir and swallowed it after a slight struggle. Seeing Tang Wentao's action, Wu Yongjun did not hesitate and also took out a black elixir and swallowed it. As the two of them swallowed the black elixir, a burst of demonic qi erupted from their bodies, and their aura rose rapidly. In a short while, their cultivation reached the transcendent realm, and they instantly broke through the ice seal of the icy qi. Withdraw. After Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao broke free from the ice seal, they raised their hands and made a hand gesture to withdraw their Big Dipper picture into their bodies. After withdrawing the Big Dipper picture, Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao immediately retreated and turned to flee, ignoring Wu Yang and the others. Senior Brother Wu, save us! Senior Brother Tang, don't leave us behind! Seeing Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao leave, the remaining people revealed panicked expressions and begged one after another. However, Wu Yongjun and his companion disappeared without a trace after a few flashes. It was as if they didn't see their cries for help. As Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao fled, the remaining people naturally could not resist the attack of the icy sword heart-piercing talisman. Bang bang! A few crisp sounds of glass shattering rang out in succession, and the Big Dipper pictures of those people were also shattered, turning into small ice cubes that scattered on the ground. After destroying the Big Dipper pictures of these people, the icy sword light's attack did not slow down and bombarded the few people with extreme speed. Puff puff puff! The icy sword light flashed and instantly passed through the bodies of those people, piercing their chests and instantly killing them. When the icy sword light killed Wu Yang and the others, Mo Qingyun revealed a surprised expression and looked at Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao, who were fleeing for their lives. Demonic frenzy pill? Mo Qingyun, who was an alchemy venerable in his previous life, was naturally very familiar with the medicinal properties of the demonic frenzy pill. Although this demonic frenzy pill could increase one's cultivation in a short period of time, allowing the person who took it to directly increase one's cultivation by a small realm within 15 minutes, the side effects were also very terrifying. Once one took the demonic frenzy pill to increase one's cultivation, every time one broke through in the future, they would be eroded by their inner demons, and the more they advanced, the more serious the erosion would be. Until one day, one's mind was completely demonized and turned into a mindless devil. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and withdrew his gaze from Wu Yongjun and Tang Wentao. Let's find a place to heal Wu Dun first. Looking at the dazed Wu Dun, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and supported Wu Dun to leave this place. Chapter 876. With Mo Qingyun's help, Wu Dun's injuries were finally stabilized. His damaged meridians were also reconnected. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun asked Wu Dun to rest on the side, while he took out the corpse of the single-horned black demonic Jiao. The single-horned black demonic Jiao was a powerful Jiao snake. Its vitality was far beyond that of ordinary demonic beasts. Even if it was killed by Mo Qingyun, its body could still survive for a period of time, slowly depleting its body's functions. During this process, the various food that it had swallowed would also be slowly consumed by it. It was for this reason that Mo Qingyun did not chase after Wu Yongjun and Wu Dun. He was worried that it would waste too much time and cause the demon resurrection grass to be absorbed by the single-horned black demonic Jiao. Swish! After taking out the single-horned black demonic Jiao, Mo Qingyun held a long sword in his hand and directly cut open its stomach. After Mo Qingyun cut open the single-horned black demonic Jiao's stomach, one could vaguely see that its internal organs were still wriggling regularly. From this, it could be seen that its body's functions had not been completely consumed. Its body still had vitality. This was a unique characteristic of snake demonic beasts. Even if its head was cut off, it could still live for a while. After cutting open the single-horned black demonic Jiao's stomach, Emo Qingyun quickly found the demon resurrection grass in its stomach. After finding the demon resurrection grass, Emo Qingyun took it out from the single-horned black demonic Jiao's stomach. If one looked carefully, one could clearly see that the demon resurrection grass had shrunk a little. It seemed that it had been refined a little inside the single-horned black demonic Jiao's body. However, it was only a little bit. It did not affect Emo Qingyun's future use. With the demon resurrection grass, only the phoenix blood nirvana fruit is left. Emo Qingyun kept the demonic resurrection grass after cleaning it up. He began to ponder, if I want to obtain the phoenix blood nirvana fruit, I have to go to the Qifeng Mountain. It seems like I'll have to make a trip to the Qifeng Mountain after leaving the Kanglin Devil Valley. After making a decision, Emo Qingyun no longer thought about it. He glanced at Wu Dun and said to himself, with this brat's injuries, if he is allowed to recover on his own, it will take at least half a month. It seems that I need to refine a furnace of glazed muscle replenishing true Dan to help him recover faster. Dong. Emo Qingyun took out the sacred beast cauldron from his Qiankuan bag and placed it in front of him. After taking out the sacred beast cauldron, Emo Qingyun took out the medicinal herbs one by one from his Qiankuan bag. After preparing all the work, Mo Qingyun no longer delayed and started refining the glazed tendon replenishing true pill. Throughout the entire refining process, Emo Qingyun's movements were as smooth as flowing water. Whether it was smelting, refining, or forming the pill, he was extremely skilled. After an unknown period of time, Wu Dun woke up. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at Emo Qingyun. Refining pills? When Wu Dun saw Emo Qingyun, a hint of surprise appeared on his face. He was a little surprised by Emo Qingyun's actions. However, he did not speak to prevent disturbing Emo Qingyun, who was refining the pills. He only waited silently at the side. A few hours later, a wisp of pill fragrance came from the sacred beast cauldron. Following the fragrance, a cloud of green mist flew out from the sacred beast cauldron. The green mist escaped from the sacred beast cauldron and turned into a flowing stream, giving off the feeling of a small bridge and flowing water. Pill image. Seeing the scene before him, Wu Dun was shocked again. The way he looked at Emo Qingyun changed. His master was Emo Qingyun. Naturally, he was no stranger to refining pills. He knew what the appearance of the pill image meant. It meant that the royal-grade pill was successfully refined. He really did not expect that the young man who looked to be in his early 20s in front of him actually had such an ability in refining pills. Could it be that Emo Qingyun was an alchemy emperor? An alchemy emperor in his early 20s. This kind of thing was really too inconceivable to Wu Dun. One had to know that refining pills was different from martial arts cultivation. It could carry out enlightenment, allowing one's cultivation to skyrocket overnight. Refining pills was a cultivation path that accumulated over time. It could not be done overnight. No matter how talented a person was, wanting to have achievements in the alchemy Dao also required countless years of accumulation. Keep. At this moment, while Wu Dun was still in shock, Emo Qingyun raised his hand to seal the pill image in midair. As the pill image was sealed inside the pill, a green pill flew out from the sacred beast cauldron. It emitted a strong medicinal energy. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun raised his hand and grabbed the pill that flew out from the sacred beast cauldron. Your injuries aren't light. Take this glazed muscle replenishing true pill and it can speed up your recovery. Seeing that the glazed muscle replenishing pill was successfully refined, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and directly handed the pill to Wu Dun. Glazed muscle replenishing pill. Looking at the pill that Emo Qingyun handed over, Wu Dun was shocked again. He was shocked by the scene before him. The glazed muscle replenishing pill was a real royal grade pill. Moreover, it was an ordinary royal grade pill. Didn't this mean that Emo Qingyun's alchemy skills were not at the level of an alchemy emperor? When he thought of this, Wu Chunfeng could no longer maintain his calm. He wanted to ask Emo Qingyun about it. However, at this moment, without waiting for Wu Dun to ask more, Emo Qingyun interrupted him and said, "Your injuries are not light. Take this glazed muscle replenishing pill to heal your injuries first. As for the other questions, I will tell you one by one after you recover." Okay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun did not say anything more and raised his hand to swallow the glazed muscle replenishing pill. Seeing that Wu Dun had swallowed the glazed muscle replenishing pill, Emo Qingyun did not wait and took out the wind vortex crystal to refine it. In the following days, Emo Qingyun cultivated and Wu Dun healed quietly. Crack! A few days later, a crisp shattering sound woke Emo Qingyun up from his cultivation. He saw that the wind vortex crystal in his hand had shattered under his refinement. This was the result of Emo Qingyun completely refining the origin of wind contained in the wind vortex crystal. Wind origin of level 2. Sensing the wind origin of wind, Emo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile. In just a few days, he had reached the second level of wind origin. This speed was quite fast. Other than that, what made Emo Qingyun pleasantly surprised was that his cultivation base had reached the Heavenly Dipper stage 6 after a few days of cultivation. In that case, I will break through to Heaven Star Border level 6 now. After thinking of this, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately began to break through to Heaven Star Border level 6. Because Emo Qingyun's current cultivation was only a step away from Heaven Star Border level 6. Therefore, the process of his breakthrough could be said to be unusually smooth, as if success was achieved when the conditions were right. After a few hours, Emo Qingyun's aura suddenly rose and reached Heaven Star Border level 6. His cultivation had broken through. Chapter 877. Several more hours passed. Under Emo Qingyun's cultivation, his cultivation level finally stabilized. At this time, Wu Dun's injuries were completely healed with the help of the glazed muscle replenishing pellet. "Thank you so much for this." Seeing that Emo Qingyun had stopped cultivating, Wu Chunfeng faintly smiled at him and cupped his fists to thank him. In response to Wu Chunfeng's gratitude, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand. He did not mind at all as he said, "There's no need to thank me. If you had not helped me, you would not have been ambushed by Tang Xiaotao. With your strength, I'm afraid you wouldn't have been in any danger even if I hadn't helped you." Hearing Emo Qingyun's courteous words, Wu Chunfeng laughed awkwardly. An awkward expression appeared on his face as he said in shame, "It seems like I've been too nosy. Not only did I not help you, but I've also become a burden to you. That's not right." At this moment, without waiting for Wu Chunfeng to finish speaking, Emo Qingyun interrupted him and solemnly said, "Drawing your sword to help when you see injustice on the road means that you have a warm-hearted heart and a heart that loves to help others. As for the level of strength, it has nothing to do with this at all. You must not mix them together. It's rare for you to be so reasonable. It seems like I was right to help you this time." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun's impression of him improved a lot. He asked, "Brother, what do you plan to do next?" "I plan to kill the leg demons and refine their bloodlines." In response to Wu Chunfeng's question, Emo Qingyun did not try to hide anything and directly told him his thoughts. Kill the leg demons and refine their bloodlines? After knowing Emo Qingyun's plan, Wu Dun widened his eyes in shock and couldn't believe what he had heard. He had been in the Kanglan Devil Valley for a long time and knew how terrifying the leg demons were. Apart from moving like the wind and having terrifying attack power, the leg demon also had an even more terrifying ability. It could erode a cultivator's soul. After destroying the cultivator's soul, it would then take over the cultivator's body. Brother, you can't joke about killing leg demons and refining their bloodlines. You have to think about it carefully. After calming down the shock in his heart, Wu Dun's tone was agitated as he hurriedly tried to persuade Emo Qingyun. Don't worry, I have my ways to deal with them. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly in response to Wu Dun's concern. He didn't take it to heart at all. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, Wu Dun shook his head helplessly. He knew that Emo Qingyun didn't take his words seriously. However, he did not continue to persuade him. He knew Emo Qingyun's character. No matter how much he tried to persuade him, it would be useless. Brother, I found a cave dwelling a few days ago. There are many leg demons inside. Why don't you come with me to explore it? Thinking about the cave dwelling he had explored a few days ago, Wu Dun's expression suddenly changed as he asked for Emo Qingyun's opinion. After dealing with Wu Yongjun and the others, Wu Dun had already treated Emo Qingyun as a life-and-death brother in his heart. In Wu Dun's opinion, Emo Qingyun would be a powerful helper if he went with him to the cave dwelling. In addition, Wu Dun was also thinking that if Emo Qingyun encountered any mishaps while refining the leg demons, he could lend a helping hand if he was by Emo Qingyun's side. Hearing this, Emo Qingyun was slightly taken aback. He was surprised by Wu Dun's words. Then, he smiled faintly, let's explore the cave dwelling together. We can take care of each other. If that's the case, let's go. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had agreed to explore the cave dwelling with him, Wu Dun smiled with satisfaction. He stood up and led Emo Qingyun to the cave dwelling. Wu Dun was clearly very familiar with the terrain of the Kanglan Demonic Valley. He led the way with ease. As Emo Qingyun and Jian Wushuang moved forward, they met many people who seemed to be heading to the cave dwelling as well. Have you heard? The tyrannical lion's cave dwelling has appeared. Many people are heading there now. I heard about it long ago. Apparently, it appeared 5 days ago. Some people have already obtained the tyrannical lion's inheritance. That's right. The person who obtained the tyrannical lion's inheritance is Jin Buhuan, who is ranked 956th on the Divine Prefecture Genius ranking. Jin Buhuan is no longer ranked 956. Just yesterday, he defeated Enfeng, who is ranked 720th, with one move. In just 5 days, Jin Buhuan's strength has increased so much. The tyrannical lion's inheritance is really something. Along the way, news about the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling came from the mouths of the people around them. Oh no, it seems that the cave dwelling that I discovered has already been discovered by others. Hearing the conversations of the people around them, Wu Dun's expression was grave. There was a hint of anxiety between his brows. It's a pity that someone got there first. Knowing that Wu Dun's cave dwelling had been exposed and that the inheritance inside had been taken away, Emo Qingyun could not help but sigh. Otherwise, helping Wu Dun obtain the tyrannical lion's inheritance would have been a good thing. Of course, what surprised Emo Qingyun the most was that the person who obtained the tyrannical lion's inheritance was actually Jin Buhuan. Jin Buhuan. I didn't expect him to be so lucky. I wonder how strong he is now. Knowing that Jin Buhuan obtained the tyrannical lion's inheritance, Emo Qingyun was curious. A fighting spirit rose in his heart. He wanted to see how strong Jin Buhuan's cultivation had become after obtaining the tyrannical lion's inheritance. Half a day later, with Wu Dun leading the way, Emo Qingyun and Jian Wushuang arrived at the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling. At this moment, the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling was still packed with people. It seemed that they were here to pick up some treasures. The tyrannical lion's cave dwelling was huge. It covered an area of several hundred acres. Above the cave dwelling's entrance was a huge stone sculpture with the head of a lion. It gave off the majestic aura of the king of beasts. Around the cave dwelling were rows of stone sculptures of various beasts. They looked like beast generals guarding the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling. Let's go in. Glancing outside the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling, Mo Qingyun said to Wu Dun and walked into the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling. Okay. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was walking into the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling, Wu Dun did not hesitate and followed behind Mo Qingyun. The interior of the tyrannical lion's cave dwelling was huge. The paths in the cave dwelling were 3 to 4 meters wide, and the ceiling was 4 to 5 meters high. It looked like a deep hall. In addition, inside the cave, there were many forks that led to stone chambers that looked like sleeping palaces. I didn't expect this tyrannical lion to know how to enjoy life. Seeing the scene inside the cave, Mo Qingyun faintly smiled and muttered to himself. The curiosity in his heart grew even stronger. Chapter 878. As they walked deeper into the tyrannical lion's cave, the number of people searching for treasures decreased. Although the number of people searching for treasures decreased, the number of corpses on the ground increased. Some of the corpses were beheaded, some were severed at the waist, and some were pierced through the heart by thousands of arrows. In short, the way the corpses died was worse than the one before, to the point where it was unbearable to look at. The interior of the tyrannical lion's cave is filled with danger. We have to be careful. Looking at the increasing number of corpses on the ground, Mo Qingyun reminded Wu Dun behind him with a grave expression. Hearing Mo Qingyun's reminder, Wu Dun's expression also became more cautious. Clang clang clang. At this moment, the sound of weapons clashing entered Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun's ears. Let's go take a look. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. He instructed Wu Dun and rushed towards the source of the sound. Not long after, a scene of several people fighting entered Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun's vision. The cultivation of these people wasn't high, only Heaven Star Border Stage 3 or Stage 4. They were fighting over a long spear. From the conversation between the two parties, Mo Qingyun knew the origin of the long spear. It was left behind by a person who died while exploring the cave. Noticing Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun's arrival, the two groups of people immediately stopped fighting and looked at Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun cautiously. From the looks of it, they seemed to be worried that Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun would join in and fight for the long spear. After knowing what these people were thinking, Mo Qingyun ignored them and turned to walk towards the passage at the side. Clang clang clang. Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun hadn't walked far when the sound of weapons clashing entered their ears again. It seemed that the two groups of people had started fighting again. Mo Qingyun and Yi Zichen did not have the chance to continue their fight. They continued to explore the interior of the tyrannical lion's cave. Dong dong dong. Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo hadn't walked far when a series of hurried footsteps came from the inside of the cave. Then, Mo Qingyun saw a group of young men being chased by a group of one-legged beasts. Leg demon. After seeing this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, and a bright smile appeared on his face. After entering the tyrannical lion's cave for so long, they finally encountered a leg demon. These leg devils didn't have a high cultivation base. They were around the 6th stage of the Heaven Dipper realm, so they weren't too difficult to deal with. Senior, save us. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun in front of them, these young men were immediately surprised and asked Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo for help. Then, without caring whether Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo agreed or not, they ran towards Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun. They didn't think about whether their actions would bring trouble to Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo. Heavenly Flames halberd. Looking at the rapidly approaching leg demons, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate at all and rushed towards them. With a thrust of the halberd, the flames on the blazing halberd became more intense, and a terrifying heat wave exploded. Under the cover of this heat wave, the temperature of the entire cave abode rose rapidly. At the same time, the blazing halberd in Mo Qingyun's hand had been rapidly swung more than 10 times, slashing out flaming halberd shadows. Once these flaming halberd shadows appeared, they rushed into the midst of the leg demons like a hot knife through butter. Bang bang bang, facing the impact of the flaming halberd shadows, the leg demons were immediately sent flying and crashed into the walls of the cave. At the same time, the leg demons were also stopped by Mo Qingyun. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was attacking the leg demons, Wu Dun didn't stay idle either. He waved the war ruler in his hand and attacked the leg demons. Not only was Wu Dun a Heaven Star Border Stage 9, but he was also a genius on the Divine Continent's elite list. His strength was naturally extraordinary. As soon as he swung the war ruler in his hand, he killed a leg demon and continued to kill the other one. These leg demons were only in the Heaven Star Border Stage 6, so how could they be a match for Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo? In the blink of an eye, they were all killed. After slaughtering the leg demons, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and raised his hand to collect all the leg demons' corpses. Let's go. After collecting the leg demons' corpses, Mo Qingyun didn't care about those who were crying for help and continued to walk into the tyrannical lion's cave. In Mo Qingyun's view, since the leg demons were killed, they would naturally be saved. Seeing Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo going deeper into the tyrannical lion's cave, the people behind looked at each other and hurriedly followed behind Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo. Perhaps in their opinion, following behind Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo might have a chance to fish in troubled waters and fish for some benefit. Wu Dun stopped and advised the people behind him, "The tyrannical lion's cave isn't safe inside. It's better for you guys to leave this place as soon as possible." Originally, Wu Chunfeng had good intentions, but who knew that the moment he said those words, those people would become dissatisfied. "Senior, we are very grateful that you guys killed those leg demons, but you can't restrict us from entering the cave." "That's right. Senior, you're not going to bully the weak, are you? It won't sound good if word gets out." For a moment, words of dissatisfaction came out from these people's mouths. Hearing these people's words, even with Wu Dun's character, he was slightly angry at this moment. These people were too ungrateful. "Forget it, let's go." Seeing Wu Dun's angry face, Mo Qingyun patted his shoulder and said indifferently, "There's no need to be angry with them. Some people will only take it for granted if you save them. Your kindness may cause them to think that you have ulterior motive. So, as long as you have a clear conscience, it's fine." "Okay." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun's expression calmed down and he nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's words. In this world, there would never be a lack of ungrateful people who would burn the bridge after crossing the river. If you took it seriously, you would lose. After that, Wu Dun didn't say anything else. He silently followed behind Mo Qingyun and continued to walk into the tyrannical lion's cave. Seeing that Mo Qingyun and Jian Wushuang didn't say anything else, the group behind them didn't hesitate and hurriedly followed behind Mo Qingyun and Jian Wushuang. Demonic soul-stealing killing formation. After walking for a short while, Mo Qingyun's footsteps stopped, and his expression became serious. He looked ahead and reminded Wu Dun, "There's a formation up ahead. Remember my steps carefully." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun nodded with a serious expression. At this moment, Wu Dun frowned slightly. He turned to look at the people behind him and reminded them, "Everyone, there's a formation up ahead. You'd better keep up." Seeing Wu Dun's actions, Mo Qingyun's impression of him improved a little. He nodded in praise. Although he had already been misunderstood, he still reminded them. Wu Dun's character was indeed good. "Senior, you don't have to lie to us. You must have found some treasure if you want us to leave so badly." "That's right. You definitely don't want to share the treasure with us. That's why you purposely made up an excuse to trick us." It was obvious that Wu Chunfeng's words of warning had been misinterpreted by these people once again. Hearing this, Wu Dun's expression became anxious. He wanted to explain. "Forget it. Since they want to die, let them be." Chapter 879. After he finished speaking, Mo Qingyun took a step forward and walked into the demon soul-stealing killing array. Then, Emo Qingyun's figure disappeared before Wu Dun's eyes. Seeing Emo Qingyun walk into the demon's soul stealing killing array, Wu Dun did not dare to hesitate and followed Emo Qingyun into the array. Then, Wu Dun and Emo Qingyun's figures disappeared before the eyes of the crowd. There really is an array. The two of them have entered the array. Should we enter or not? Will there be any danger inside the array? Enter, why shouldn't we enter? Wealth comes from danger. This is a principle that has not changed since ancient times. If there is danger, it means there is treasure. That's right. Let's follow them. Don't let them go too far. After some hesitation, these people no longer hesitated and walked into the demon's soul stealing killing array. Once they walked into the demon's soul stealing killing array, the scene in front of them changed greatly. However, what they did not expect was that they did not see Emo Qingyun and Wu Dun's figures in the array. After seeing this scene, the crowd's expressions changed greatly and their faces gradually turned pale. This was bad. Without Emo Qingyun and Wu Dun leading the way, how could they walk out of this array? Huff huff huff, without waiting for the crowd to recover, balls of black fog-like shadow slowly condensed and formed in the array. After seeing the black fog-like shadow, the crowd's faces immediately turned pale and their expressions were filled with fear. Then, under the crowd's fear, the balls of black fog-like shadow slowly approached them. The speed of these black shadows was not fast. They were even slower than an ordinary person walking. However, their numbers were extremely terrifying. In a short while, 1/3 of the space within the demon's soul stealing killing array was occupied by the black fog-like shadow. Seeing the black fog-like shadow getting closer and closer, the crowd's expressions became increasingly tense, and the fear in their expressions increased. The black mist-like shadow in front of them was too strange and sinister for them. Just looking at the shadow made their hair stand on end, and they wished they could stay as far away from it as possible. Unfortunately, they were all inside the demon's soul stealing killing array and could not avoid the black fog shadow. Right now, the most unbearable thing was not the strangeness and eeriness of the black fog shadow. Instead, the shadow of black fog was slowly approaching. The feeling of danger slowly approaching was too torturous. This feeling was like being sent to the execution ground and feeling death slowly approaching. Being suddenly killed was more than 10,000 times more painful. I can't take it anymore. Not long after, a person with a weaker mental state finally couldn't bear the torment and directly rushed towards the shadow of the black fog. A cool breeze brushed the fallen leaves. The man swung his sword and slashed out a several-meter-long sword chi toward the black fog shadow. Poochie! Under this man's sword, a gap was cut open in the shadow of the black fog, and an empty space appeared. This scene was as if the black fog shadow had been directly dispersed by this man's sword. Haha, I thought it was something terrifying, but it's only SOSO. Seeing that his sword had dispersed the black fog shadow, the man laughed and said disdainfully, "Roar." Before he could finish his words, a furious roar came from the shadow of the black fog. Immediately, a figure appeared from the shadow of the black fog. It was a knight riding a war horse. Purgatory's sprint. A hoarse voice came from the Death Knight's mouth. Then, the long spear in his hand pierced forward. Poochie! The Death Knight's speed was extremely fast, like an afterimage. Before the man could react, the long spear in his hand had pierced into his body. No. Impossible. Looking at his pierced abdomen, the man's eyes widened and his face was filled with disbelief. However, before he could finish his words, he died with his eyes wide open and fell to the ground. Black blood flowed from his abdomen. After seeing this scene, intense fear immediately appeared on the faces of the others. In their eyes, the Death Knight's strength was too terrifying. This time, they were really done for. At this moment, in their hearts, they could not help but feel a sense of regret. If they had known this would happen, they would have listened to Wu Dun's words and left the tyrannical lion's cave. Look, the shadow of the black fog is moving faster. At this moment, when everyone was filled with fear, one of them looked at the shadow of the black fog moving in front of him, and said in a panic. After hearing this person's words, the others turned to look at the shadow of the black fog, and the despair in their eyes intensified. The shadow of the black fog was moving faster, which meant that they had less time to live. Say, "Senior, we know we were wrong, please save us. Senior, we were the ones who bit Lu Dongbin earlier and didn't know how to appreciate kindness. Please forgive us this once. Senior, can you hear us? As long as you save us one more time, we are willing to do anything for you." Seeing that death was approaching, these people showed a pleading expression and shouted from within the demon's soul-stealing killing array. However, there was no response from within the array to their pleas. There was not even an echo. After receiving such a result, these people broke out in cold sweat. Their expressions were lifeless, and their eyes became empty. They were all scared silly. At this moment, the situation of these people was unreservedly displayed on the other side of the demon's soul-stealing killing array. Brother Mo, you are familiar with this demon soul-stealing killing array. Can you help them one more time? Seeing the situation of the people, Wu Dun showed a sympathetic expression and asked Mo Qingyun. Hearing Wu Dun's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and sighed. He did not answer. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, he did not know if he really had no other way or if he was not willing to help. Mo Qingyun went silent for a short moment before he said in a low voice, "If they didn't enter the Soul Sea's Devil Soul Slaughter formation, then I can take them out of the formation. But under such circumstances, please forgive me for being powerless." Sigh. Hearing Mo Qingyun's answer, Wu Dun immediately sighed and showed a regretful expression. Seeing Wu Dun's reaction, Mo Qingyun also sighed and said to Wu Dun in a low voice, "Don't worry too much about their life and death. You have already tried your best. They did not listen to your advice and reaped what they sowed. If I had forced them to leave just now, perhaps..." Wu Dun shook his head, as if he could not get rid of the shadow in his heart. He said a sentence that was slightly self-reproachful. "No. Even if you force them to leave just now, they might not be able to leave alive." Before Wu Chunfeng could finish his words, Mo Qingyun interrupted him and said in a deep voice, "Martial cultivation is a path that defies the heavens. It's a matter of survival of the fittest. You can save them once, but you can't save them forever. Therefore, you don't have to blame yourself. Thank you." Chapter 880. Let's go. I'll find a place to refine the bloodline of the leg demon. Seeing Wu Dun walk out of his psychological shadow, Mo Qingyun said to him, and walked into the cave mansion. "Okay, I'll protect you." Knowing Mo Qingyun's idea, Wu Dun promised Mo Qingyun without thinking. Then, Mo Qingyun and Duan Ling Tian looked for a secluded place in the tyrannical lion's cave mansion. After Mo Qingyun and Duan Ling Tian searched for a while, a small stone room appeared in front of them. After seeing this stone room, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate and walked in and sat down cross-legged. After Mo Qingyun sat on the ground, he took out the corpse of the leg demon from his Qiankuan bag and began to refine its bloodline power. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Wu Dun immediately became alert and tensed up. From the looks of it, he seemed to be thinking that if anything were to happen to Mo Qingyun, he would immediately rush forward to save him. What made Wu Dun feel at ease was that after Mo Qingyun refined the corpse of the leg demon, there was no change in his aura. It seemed that Mo Qingyun was not lying. He really had a way to refine the bloodline of the leg demon. After this discovery, Wu Dun's expression relaxed a lot and he no longer worried about Mo Qingyun's safety. However, although Wu Dun was no longer worried about Mo Qingyun's danger when refining the bloodline of the leg demon, he still did not relax his vigilance and paid full attention to his surroundings. After all, the tyrannical lion's cave mansion was full of danger. In addition to the many leg demons hiding in the dark, the warriors who came in to train were also a threat. Then, time passed by little. With the passage of time, the leg demon's corpse shriveled under Mo Qingyun's refinement. After refining the bloodline of the leg demon's corpse, Mo Qingyun clearly felt that his heavenly soul demon's bloodline had become stronger. In addition, his cultivation base had also improved a lot, reaching the peak of the middle stage of Heavenly Dipper Stage 5. Seeing that his cultivation base had improved, Mo Qingyun smiled brightly and worked harder to refine the bloodline power of the leg demon. After a long time, a conversation came into Wu Dun's ears. Jin Buhuan, this kid really knows how to hide. We haven't found him for 3 days. If I find him, I will definitely take his inheritance. Jin Buhuan fled back to the domineering lion's cave. Now that our people are guarding the entrance, there's no way he can escape. After a while, a few arrogant and condescending young men appeared in Wu Dun's sight. 703rd place on the Divine Prefecture Hero Ranking, Li Ruejuan. 642nd place on the Divine Prefecture Hero Ranking, Chen Shihui. 61st place on the Divine Prefecture Hero Ranking, Huang Chuanlong. Seeing these people in front of him, Wu Dun's expression suddenly tensed up. Worry could be seen between his brows. These people were all on the Divine Prefecture Hero Ranking and were much stronger than him. If they were to fight, he wouldn't be a match for them. More importantly, these people were from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Tianyang Sacred Mountain, and Broken Sea Sacred Mountain sections. They had some grudges with Wu Dun. When he thought of this, Wu Qinfeng's heart sank. The worry in his heart grew even more. If they found out, it would be very troublesome. It might affect Mo Qingyun's cultivation. Most of the time, the more you feared something, the more likely it was to happen. Now, just as Wu Dun was praying that he wouldn't be found, they still found him. Wu Dun, I didn't expect to see you here. Seeing Wu Dun guarding the door of the stone room, Huang Chuanlong sneered. He walked closer with a gloomy look and said, although I didn't find Jin Buhuan, I found you here. This is also a good harvest. Your head is worth hundreds of millions of origin energy stones. Brother Huang, it's a good sign to find Wu Dun here. Following Huang Chuanlong's gaze, Li Ruejuan also smiled coldly when he saw Wu Dun. Haha, that's true. If that's the case, I'll leave Wu Dun to Brother Huang. Following Li Ruejuan and Huang Chuanlong's words, Chen Shihui said gloomily. He looked at Mo Qingyun in the stone room and sneered. Wu Dun is guarding that kid. That kid's identity shouldn't be simple. From what I see, that kid might be the young lord of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Huang Chuanlong, Chen Shihui, Li Ruejuan, don't vent your anger on others. Brother Mo has nothing to do with the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Seeing that Chen Shihui and the others wanted to deal with Mo Qingyun, Wu Dun's expression changed. He looked nervous. Haha, it's not up to you to decide. In response to Wu Qinfeng's words, Chen Shihui coldly chuckled. His complacent expression grew even more as he continued, since you care so much about that brat, it seems that my earlier guess is not far from the truth. If that's the case, that brat must not be let off. Haha, that's an unexpected gain for us. Hearing this, Huang Chuanlong immediately laughed and said, with such a gain, even if we can't find Jin Buhuan, this trip is worth it. That's right. Li Ruejuan nodded in agreement. He didn't want to hesitate any longer and said to Huang Chuanlong, Brother Huang, you hold back Wu Dun. Brother Chen and I will take care of that kid. Once we've taken care of that kid, we'll help you deal with Wu Dun. We don't want that kid to escape. Go ahead and take care of that kid. I can handle a small Wu Dun alone. Huang Chuanlong agreed to Li Ruejuan and Huang Chuanlong's suggestion without hesitation. He patted his chest and said confidently, All right. Seeing that Huang Chuanlong had agreed to their suggestion, Li Ruejuan and Huang Chuanlong no longer hesitated and approached Mo Qingyun step by step. At this moment, as Li Ruejuan and the other two approached, Mo Qingyun was immersed in a strange state. He found himself in front of a huge eyeball. The eyeball was emitting an enchanting light that made him feel like he was about to sink into it. Not only that, as Mo Qingyun's consciousness approached the eyeball, he felt like his soul was about to leave his body. What a terrifying eyeball! After this discovery, Mo Qingyun was immediately shocked. He wanted to use his consciousness to enter the eyeball. However, before Mo Qingyun could make a move, the huge eyeball flashed and entered his right eye at an extremely fast speed. As soon as the eyeball entered Mo Qingyun's right eye, it fused with his right eye and a message emerged from it. This message recorded a powerful divine power, the demonic eye-seizing soul. The demonic eye-seizing soul. As he digested the message recorded in his mind, Mo Qingyun's expression became more and more shocked. Chapter 881. After digesting the information in his mind, Mo Qingyun exited from his cultivation state and slowly opened his eyes. When Mo Qingyun opened his eyes, he saw two people sneering at him as they slowly walked towards him. The two of them were late-stage Heaven Star Border Stage 9, and their auras were even stronger than Wu Dun's. Brother Mo, they are both ranked in the top 600 on the Divine Continent's elite ranking. Leave this place quickly, don't worry about me. When Mo Qingyun was sizing up the two people in front of him, Wu Dun revealed an anxious expression and hurriedly urged him to leave. Escape? Wu Dun, you're too naive. With his Heaven Star Border Stage 6 cultivation, do you think he has the chance to escape from us? Wu Dun, you're like a clay Buddha crossing a river. You can't even protect yourself now. You should take care of yourself first. When they heard Wu Dun's words, Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihue revealed a mocking expression and said something complacent. At this moment, when Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihue were mocking Wu Dun, Mo Qingyun glanced at Wu Dun. He was currently fighting with Huang Chuanlong, and he was already at a disadvantage. He was being suppressed by Huang Chuanlong. Looking at the situation, if this continued, it was only a matter of time before he lost. This person is much stronger than Wu Dun. If nothing goes wrong, Wu Dun will be defeated after 100 moves. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious as he thought to himself, looks like I have to deal with these two people within 100 moves, and then help Wu Dun. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious as he instructed Wu Dun in a deep voice, Chunfeng, try your best to hold on for 100 moves. At that time, I will help you. Okay. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun felt that it was unlikely, but he still nodded in agreement. He didn't know why, but after interacting with Mo Qingyun for the past few days, he suddenly realized that he had an inexplicable trust in Mo Qingyun. Perhaps it was because Mo Qingyun had displayed extraordinary skills in the past few days. After 100 moves, are you going to help Wu Dun? Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Li Ruijuan curled his lips in disdain and mocked. Kid, aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? Do you think we're idiots? Brother Li, there's no need for us to waste words with this brat. Let's just take care of him. After Li Ruijuan's words, Chen Shihue's expression darkened as he spoke angrily. Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihue no longer hesitated and immediately attacked Mo Qingyun. Chaotic Thunderbolt palm-splitting mountain range. Li Ruijuan's palm blasted out. Lightning arcs immediately surged on his palm, forming a huge lightning blade palm shadow that was several meters long. Once the lightning blade palm shadow formed, it rapidly bombarded Mo Qingyun. Thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. When Li Ruijuan attacked, Li Ruijuan didn't hesitate either. He raised his hand and took out a golden spear. Golden Flood Dragon Spear Technique, Flood Dragon wreaking havoc in the sea. The golden spear spun in Chen Shihue's hand and exploded with a dazzling golden light, transforming into a golden Flood Dragon Spear shadow. Once the Flood Dragon Spear shadow appeared, it flew forward as if it was riding the wind and breaking the waves, pressing towards Mo Qingyun with the force of a thunderbolt. Facing Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui's attacks, Mo Qingyun didn't dare to be careless. He immediately took out the Scorching Flame Halberd and gripped it in his right hand. Scorching Flame Halberd. When the Scorching Flame Halberd fell into Mo Qingyun's hand, he unhesitatingly stabbed towards the Golden Flood Dragon Spear Shadow. When Mo Qingyun stabbed out with his halberd, the Scorching Flame Halberd shone with a bright red light and erupted with a terrifying heat wave. At the same time, a scarlet dragon-shaped halberd light shot towards the golden dragon-shaped spear shadow with lightning speed. Shao's heavenly spirit finger. Mo Qingyun held the Scorching Flame Halberd in his right hand and stabbed towards Chen Shihui. His left hand wasn't idle either. As Mo Qingyun's left hand pointed out, the aura on his left pinky grew stronger and a black yuan power rapidly gathered. As the black yuan power gathered, it turned into a huge black vortex and a huge finger flew out from it. When the finger appeared, it exploded with a monstrous demonic aura, as if it came from the ancient demon domain. Bang bang, a series of loud explosions rang out as the huge black finger collided with the silver lightning palm. The red dragon halberd shadow collided with the golden flood dragon spear shadow. As they collided, a shocking force immediately erupted, forming a mushroom cloud-like elemental energy storm. Boom boom boom, under the impact of these waves of elemental energy storms, the entire abode began to tremble. Large holes were blasted out of the stone walls of the abode. If it wasn't for the protective array, the cave would have collapsed under the impact of the Yuan power storm. This kid is so strong. After the first exchange with Mo Qingyun, Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui were shocked. The way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed. They didn't expect that a mere 6th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign would be able to withstand their combined attack. Judging from this kid's strength, he might be a triple-kill prodigy. We can't be careless from now on. Chen Shihui nodded solemnly at Li Ruijuan's words and said coldly, "If that's the case, this kid's identity in the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain must be extraordinary. He might be the young lord of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. If that's the case, Brother Chen, let's not hold back and kill him with all our might." Hearing Chen Shihui's words, Li Ruijuan didn't hesitate anymore. He wanted to kill Mo Qingyun as soon as possible. Lightning Crystal Qilin Deer Portrait, come out. Single-horned Golden Flood Dragon Portrait, come out. In an instant, Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui took out their Heavenly Star portraits and no longer held back. The Lightning Crystal Qilin Deer Portrait and the Single-Horned Golden Flood Dragon Portrait were both extremely powerful Heavenly Star Portrait. Although they weren't as strong as Qi Lian's Infernal Demonic Dragon Portrait, they were still ranked in the top 1,000. As Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui took out their Heavenly Star Portraits, 2 demonic beast shadows flew out from the Heavenly Star totems and merged with their bodies. As the 2 demonic beast shadows merged with Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui's bodies, Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui's bodies began to change and turned into 2 gigantic demonic beasts. They were the Lightning Crystal Qilin Deer Portrait and the Single-Horned Golden Flood Dragon Portrait. Totem transformation? Seeing Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihui's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He was a little surprised by their performance. Totem transformation was the same as soul transformation. It allowed the cultivator to transform into a demonic beast to fight. However, totem transformation was more powerful than soul transformation. Not only did it allow the cultivator to possess the physique of a demonic beast, but it also allowed the cultivator to possess the demonic beast's innate talent and display the demonic beast's innate ability. However, the difficulty of totem transformation was undoubtedly 100 times more difficult than soul transformation. Not only did the Heavenly Star portraits have to be ranked in the top 1,000, but it also required some luck to trigger totem transformation. This second point was the most important. Otherwise, even if one had the number 1 Heavenly Star portrait, it would still be useless. From this, it could be seen that Li Ruijuan and Qin Shihui were able to carry out totem transformation. It wasn't a simple matter. Chapter 882. Li Ruijuan and Qin Shihui actually used the totem transformation. Seeing Li Ruijuan and Qin Shihui's actions, Huang Chuanlong, who was fighting with Wu Dun, was shocked. He was very clear about Li Ruijuan and Qin Shihui's strength. They were only slightly weaker than him. For a Heaven Star Border Stage 6 cultivator to be able to force them to this extent, it was enough to show how extraordinary Mo Qingyun was. This kid is not simple. At this moment, Huang Chuanlong gave Mo Qingyun an evaluation in his heart. He looked at Mo Qingyun and thought to himself, if that's the case, I have to quickly finish off Wu Dun and help Li Ruijuan and Qin Shihui deal with him. From Huang Chuanlong's point of view, Mo Qingyun was much more valuable than Wu Dun. With this thought, Huang Chuanlong's attacks became much fiercer, making Wu Dun's situation even more worrisome. Wind and Fire Dragon Goat Portrait come out. Under Huang Chuanlong's powerful attacks, Wu Dun could only take out his Heavenly Star Portrait to counter Huang Chuanlong's attacks. But Wu Dun's thoughts were undoubtedly a little naive. Huang Chuanlong also had the Heavenly Star Portrait, and it was even stronger than his. Seeing Wu Dun take out the Heavenly Star Portrait, Huang Chuanlong's lips curled into a sinister smile. Wu Dun, you're not the only one who has the Heavenly Star Portrait. Since that's the case, I have no choice but to end this battle quickly. Netherworld Purple Bear Portrait Possession. Totem Transformation. Huang Chuanlong took out the Heavenly Star Portrait and did not hesitate to use the totem transformation. Immediately, Huang Chuanlong's figure grew rapidly. In just a short while, he had turned into a 10-meter-tall giant. After Huang Chuanlong transformed into the Netherworld Purple Bear, streaks of purple lightning surrounded his body, as if he was the god of lightning. Not only that, but Huang Chuanlong's aura had also grown much stronger after transforming into the Purple Hellish Bear, reaching the level of a quasi-divinity realm. In this way, Wu Dun's situation naturally became even more worrisome, and he fell into a state of life and death. This is bad. Wu Dun is in trouble now. After seeing Huang Chuanlong's actions, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately changed, revealing a look of worry. He thought to himself, from the looks of it, Wu Dun won't be able to last more than 10 moves. Looks like we have to deal with these two quickly. Seeing that Mo Qingyun was fighting with the two of them while paying attention to Wu Dun's battle, Li Ruijuan and Lu Ruijuan were displeased. A 6th-level Heavenly Dipper brat was actually paying attention to others when he was fighting against them. To them, this was no longer a form of contempt, but a great humiliation. Brat, you actually dared to be half-hearted when fighting with me. You're courting death. Next, I'll show you what's called a totem transformation. Lu Ruijuan and Lu Ruijuan's expressions were ferocious as they said those words, then attacked Mo Qingyun with all their might. However, Mo Qingyun didn't take their attacks to heart. With a mocking smile, he said, "Don't think that you've become much stronger after turning into a tortoise. In my opinion, no matter what you turn into, you won't be able to withstand a single blow." Although Mo Qingyun said that, he didn't dare to be careless and immediately displayed his martial soul mystique. Blood Qi Rampage. After Mo Qingyun displayed his martial soul mystique, his aura rose rapidly. In just a short while, Mo Qingyun's aura rose from the peak of the mid-stage Heavenly Dipper stage to the 8th-level Heavenly Dipper stage. 8th-level Heavenly Dipper stage. Feeling the rise in his cultivation, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly stunned. He was a little surprised by the extent of the increase in his strength. He said in surprise, "The martial soul mystique's Blood Qi Rampage seems to be much stronger than before. Could it be because of the Heavenly Dipper picture?" Originally, Mo Qingyun thought that after using the Blood Qi Rampage, his cultivation would only reach the late-stage Heavenly Dipper stage. He didn't expect that he would reach the 8th level Heavenly Dipper stage directly. Heavenly Dipper Stage 8. You're hiding your cultivation? Sensing the change in Emo Qingyun's aura, Li Ruijuan and Chen Shihue were shocked and revealed a trace of panic. Just now, Emo Qingyun was able to fight on par with them with his Heavenly Dipper Stage 6 cultivation. Now that Emo Qingyun's cultivation had reached the 8th level Heavenly Dipper stage, their situation wasn't good. Brother Li, don't worry. Although this kid's cultivation has increased, his comprehension of the origin won't change. His strength won't increase by much. Looking at the tense Li Ruijuan beside him, Chen Shihue's expression was solemn. He comforted Li Ruijuan, but it also seemed like he was comforting himself. Innate Mystique, Berserk Lightning Domain. Hearing Chen Shihue's words, Li Ruijuan's expression turned for the better. He immediately attacked Emo Qingyun with all his strength. Following that, a terrifying lightning energy exploded from Li Ruijuan's body. As soon as the thunderbolt force appeared, it formed a huge thunderbolt space that enveloped them. As soon as this lightning energy was comprehended, Emo Qingyun could feel a shocking lightning origin within it. However, when Emo Qingyun sensed this origin energy, he didn't reveal the slightest bit of panic. On the contrary, when he saw the thunderbolt territory before him, a bright smile appeared on his face. He said, I was just thinking about how to increase my comprehension of the lightning origin. This thunderbolt territory can help me with my cultivation. Emo Qingyun muttered to himself. He didn't think too much about it and immediately used his martial soul super ability, the Devouring Gate. Devouring Gate. A silver door of light appeared above Emo Qingyun in an instant, erupting with a terrifying devouring power. Under this devouring power, the lightning origin energy in the thunderbolt territory immediately flowed away rapidly. As the devouring gate absorbed the lightning origin energy, Emo Qingyun's comprehension of the lightning origin energy rapidly increased. At the same time, a layer of lightning armor gradually formed outside of Emo Qingyun's body. This was the sign that he had comprehended the lightning origin energy. This kid can actually devour the lightning origin energy in my thunderbolt territory to cultivate this. How is this possible? When he saw Emo Qingyun's actions, Li Ruijuan's expression changed drastically, and his face turned pale. His strongest technique had been used by his opponent to cultivate. This was too difficult for him to accept. Seeing Li Ruijuan's panicked expression, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, Nothing is impossible. Since it can help me comprehend the lightning origin energy, I won't kill you today. Humph. Kid, it's too early to boast. Seeing that Emo Qingyun had ignored him, Chen Shihue was displeased. He said coldly, You have a way to deal with brotherly, but you might not have a way to stop me. Chapter 883. Innate Ability, Golden Flood Dragon Tyrannical Body. After using his innate ability, the surface of Chen Shihue's skin immediately glowed with golden light. After a short while, when the golden light entered Chen Shihue's body, a layer of golden scales condensed on the surface of his body. Looking at Chen Shihue, who was wrapped in golden scales, everyone could not help but have an illusion that they were looking at the Dragon Prince from the deep sea. Golden Flood Dragon Spear Art, Golden Flood Dragon Transformation. After using his innate ability, Chen Shihue lightly tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and stabbed the golden spear in his hand towards Emo Qingyun. As the spear stabbed out, an indomitable aura flowed out from his body. As Chen Shihue's body moved forward, the golden spear in his hand surged with origin energy and turned into a golden dragon shadow. The dragon's aura was monstrous. Facing Chen Shihue's powerful attack, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and tightened his grip on the scorching flame halberd. Emo Qingyun exerted force on his feet and jumped up, arriving above Chen Shihue. Scorching flame halberd. Looking at Chen Shihue below, Mo Qingyun did a 180-degree spin in the air and slashed down with the scorching flame halberd. Under Mo Qingyun's swing, the scorching flame halberd immediately slashed out an arc of scarlet light that emitted a terrifying heat wave. As soon as the scorching flame halberd shadow appeared, it turned into a scarlet dragon shadow and attacked Chen Shihui domineeringly. Facing the attack of the scorching flame halberd shadow, both the Thunder Domain and the Golden Spear shadow were overshadowed. Pucci. Under the attack of the scorching flame halberd shadow, the Golden Spear shadow did not have the slightest resistance and was forcefully defeated. After defeating Chen Shihui's Golden Spear shadow, the scorching flame halberd shadow's attack speed did not decrease and continued to bombard him. Bang! Under the rapid bombardment of the scorching flame halberd shadow, Chen Shihui did not have time to defend himself and was directly hit by the scorching flame halberd shadow. Dong dong dong! After Chen Shihui was sent flying, he crashed into a pillar in the cave and broke several pillars before coming to a stop. Puff! After Chen Shihui fell to the ground, his face immediately turned red and he spat out blood. However, Chen Shihui did not pay attention to his injuries. Instead, he looked at Mo Qingyun in shock and exclaimed, "Great perfection of the origin of fire. Your origin of fire has reached the great perfection?" A 6th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign had reached the great circle of the fire origin source. This was simply too hard to accept. One had to know that Chen Shihui's current cultivation base was at the late-stage Heavenly Dipper 9th level, but his metal origin was only at the initial 8th level. What? His fire origin realm has reached perfection. As soon as Chen Shihui said this, Li Ruijuan and Huang Chuanlong's expressions changed. They looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. Clearly, they had not expected that Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the fire origin had actually reached such a terrifying level. Brother Mo, what terrifying cultivation talent and perception! After learning that Mo Qingyun had reached the origin of fire, Wu Dun was no exception. Intense shock appeared on his face. Bang! While everyone was still in shock, one of the stone walls was suddenly destroyed. After the stone wall was broken, a familiar figure appeared in their line of sight. This figure was none other than Jin Buhuan, who had obtained the inheritance of the tyrannical lion. At this moment, Jin Buhuan's cultivation base had increased significantly compared to a few days ago. He had reached the quasi-transcendent realm. I didn't expect all of you to be here. This saves me the trouble of finding all of you one by one. Seeing Mo Qingyun and the other 4 in front of him, Jin Buhuan revealed a sinister smile. A strong murderous intent exploded from his body. Especially when Jin Buhuan saw Mo Qingyun, his expression became even more ferocious. He gritted his teeth and said, "Brat, you killed my second brother. Today I'm going to tear you into pieces." As soon as he finished speaking, Jin Buhuan's body turned into an afterimage and pounced on Mo Qingyun. Seeing Jin Buhuan's actions, Huang Chuanlong and the other 2 were shocked. They were somewhat surprised by the scene before them. After a short moment of being stunned, Li Ruijuan revealed a sinister smile. He looked at Huang Chuanlong and Chen Shihui and sneered, "Brother Chen, Brother Huang, now that this brat has Jin Buhuan holding him back, he won't be able to escape. Let's take care of Wu Dun first. We'll take care of the brat later." "That's right. The 3 of us will work together to take care of Wu Dun first. Then we can focus on taking care of the brat." Hearing Li Ruijuan's suggestion, Huang Chuanlong immediately agreed and decided to take care of Wu Dun first. Then Li Ruijuan, Chen Shihui, and Huang Chuanlong worked together to take care of Wu Dun alone. Wu Dun's strength was not as strong as Huang Chuanlong and the other 2. Now that the 3 of them worked together, there was no way he could resist at all. Bang! Soon, Huang Chuanlong and the other 2 joined forces and sent Wu Chunfeng flying with a single palm strike. Crack! After Wu Dun was hit by Huang Chuanlong's palm, the crisp sound of bones cracking came from his chest. Then, a stream of red blood gushed out from Wu Dun's mouth. It seemed like he was severely injured. Seeing that Wu Dun was severely injured by Huang Chuanlong and the other two, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately turned cold. A murderous aura erupted from his body as he said grimly, "Since you're so eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a jade talisman that looked like a white jade pipa was summoned from his body. Buzz, as soon as the white jade pipa jade talisman was summoned, it flashed with a dazzling silver light and emitted waves of illusory sound wave. Under the impact of the illusory sound waves, Jin Buhuan and the other three instantly felt their souls being attacked. Their consciousness began to blur. Sound wave attack. As soon as this feeling appeared, Jin Buhuan and the other three panicked. Their eyes were filled with dread. For a martial artist, spiritual attacks were the most troublesome and also the most dreadful technique. They did not expect Mo Qingyun to have such a technique. This time, they were in trouble. Buzz, however, before Jin Buhuan and the other three could recover, another wave of illusory sound waves came at them. After being attacked by the illusory sound waves, Jin Buhuan and the others began to stagger as if they were drunk. Seeing that Jin Buhuan's consciousness was blurry, Mo Qingyun mercilessly stabbed his halberd at him. Under the attack of the scorching halberd, Jin Buhuan's chest was penetrated. A hideous and terrifying wound appeared. At the same time, Jin Buhuan's body was sent flying by Mo Qingyun's halberd. He fell to the ground unconscious and spat out blood. After sending Jin Buhuan flying, Mo Qingyun's hands did not stop moving. He waved the scorching halberd at Huang Chuanlong and the other two. Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Huang Chuanlong and the other two in a few flashes. He swung the scorching halberd at them, creating a crescent-shaped halberd light. Wherever the halberd light passed, flames raged. It was like a coiling dragon soaring into the sky and crashed into Huang Chuanlong and the other two in a domineering manner. Bang bang bang. Under the impact of the halberd light, Huang Chuanlong and the other two were immediately sent flying. Their faces turned pale. Chapter 884. Mo Qingyun moved like the wind. His body turned into a shadow as he arrived in front of Huang Chuanlong. Mo Qingyun did not hesitate to raise his scorching halberd and thrust it towards Huang Chuanlong's dantian. Huang Chuanlong wanted to dodge Mo Qingyun's attack, but he was in a daze and could not use the origin energy in his body. Don't kill me," Huang Chuanlong could only plead instinctively, hoping that Mo Qingyun would let him go. Before Huang Chuanlong could finish his words, Mo Qingyun's scorching halberd pierced through his dantian. Poof! Huang Chuanlong immediately spat out blood as his dantian was pierced by the scorching halberd. His aura weakened rapidly. Soon, Huang Chuanlong's aura disappeared and he became a cripple. You destroyed my cultivation." Huang Chuanlong was terrified when he saw that his cultivation had been destroyed. He could not believe that this was real. He was a genius on the Divine Prefecture Outstanding Elites list. How could his cultivation be destroyed? This could not be real. No, this can't be real. Huang Chuanlong's eyes widened at the thought of this and he screamed crazily. Mo Qingyun did not pay any attention to Huang Chuanlong's crazy behavior. Instead, he turned around and walked toward Chen Shihui. Don't come over." Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was approaching step by step, Chen Shihui's face was filled with fear, and his body kept moving backward. He was scared. He didn't want to end up like Huang Chuanlong and become a cripple with no cultivation. This was even more painful than death. "What's wrong? Are you scared?" Mo Qingyun sneered when he saw Chen Shihui's expression. He asked, "Weren't you very arrogant just now? Didn't you say that I can deal with Li Ruijuan but not you?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Chen Shihui's tone immediately changed. He didn't know how to answer Mo Qingyun. After a short moment of speechlessness, Chen Shihui revealed a bitter smile and begged Mo Qingyun for mercy. Brother, I know I was wrong. As the saying goes, knowing one's mistakes is the best way to improve. Can you give me a chance to turn over a new leaf? As long as you don't kill me now, I will do anything you want me to do in the future. Give you a chance to turn over a new leaf? Aren't you thinking too much? After Mo Qingyun heard this, a bright smile appeared on his face. He asked Chen Shihui a question and said, "Those who kill will be killed by others. Today you will definitely die. Let me tell you one more thing. It is the Buddha Lord's job to persuade people to do good. My task is to send you to see the Buddha Lord. Die." Under the control of Mo Qingyun, the scorching flame halberd drew a red halberd shadow and directly pierced towards Chen Shihui's throat. Puchi! The scorching flame halberd was pulled out of Chen Shihui's throat, bringing out a sword of blood. Chen Shihui's entire face was dyed red. Feeling the coldness on his throat, Chen Shihui widened his eyes and looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief. He really killed him. Seeing Chen Shihui's fear, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and swept the scorching flame halberd towards him again. Under the sweep of the scorching flame halberd, Chen Shihui was directly sent flying and crashed heavily into the cave's stone wall. Falling from the stone wall, Chen Shihui's legs gave way and he fell to the ground, dying with his eyes wide open. After killing Chen Shihui, Mo Qingyun's face was cold and indifferent. He turned his head and slowly walked towards Li Ruijuan. Go! Looking at the slowly approaching Mo Qingyun, Li Ruijuan's expression became serious and filled with fear. Too terrifying! Too dangerous! In just a few moments, Huang Chuanlong and Chen Shihui, who were stronger than him, had been decisively killed by Mo Qingyun. Could it be that it was his turn now? Thinking of this, Li Ruijuan's body trembled and even his breathing became heavier. He begged for mercy. Don't kill me. I can help you cultivate. I can help you increase your cultivation. I'm very useful to you." At this moment, Li Ruijuan did not hesitate to become Mo Qingyun's cultivation tool in order to save his life. There was no other way. A bad life was better than a good death. As long as he was alive, at least he had something to look forward to. If he died, everything would be over. However, he obviously overestimated his value. At this moment, without waiting for him to finish his words, Mo Qingyun directly stabbed his halberd. Puchi! As expected, Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. The halberd pierced through Li Ruijuan's chest without any hesitation. Looking at his chest that was pierced, Li Ruijuan's eyes widened. He did not understand why. He looked at Mo Qingyun and asked, "Why? Didn't you say that I can help you cultivate?" Hearing Li Ruijuan's puzzled words, Mo Qingyun looked at him with disdain and said coldly, "You overestimate your value. I, Mo Qingyun, do not need others to help me increase my strength." Puchi! Mo Qingyun's right hand pulled the scorching halberd out of Li Ruijuan's body. Plop! As the scorching halberd was pulled out, Li Ruijuan's body lost its support and fell to the ground. His blood instantly dyed the ground red. After killing Li Ruijuan, Mo Qingyun walked towards the unconscious Jin Buhuan. He kept Jin Buhuan in the 5-directional pagoda and prepared to slowly deal with him later. Jin Buhuan had obtained the inheritance of the tyrannical lion. He could not kill him directly. Otherwise, the inheritance of the tyrannical lion would be destroyed. Brother Mo's strength is so terrifying. Could he be a quadruple kill Heaven's Pride? Seeing Mo Qingyun kill Huang Chuanlong and the other two, Wu Dun's eyes widened. He was shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. He thought that he had already told Mo Qingyun about his strength. He did not expect that he had only seen the tip of the iceberg. While Wu Dun was still in shock, Mo Qingyun walked towards him quickly. He squatted down in front of him and raised his hand to check on his injuries. "Brother Mo, I've become a burden to you again. Am I very useless? Wu Chun had a bitter expression on his face as he uttered these depressed words. He felt extremely sullen in his heart. No matter what, Wu Dun was still a genius on the Divine Continent elite ranking. However, he had become a burden to Emo Qingyun time and time again. This kind of thing was a big blow to him, and it affected his confidence a little. One must know that Emo Qingyun was in the 6th stage of the Heaven Star border. He was 3 stages lower than him. However, he had saved him time and time again. This was not a good feeling. Emo Qingyun saw through Wu Dun's thoughts. He patted him on the shoulder and said, "Everyone's situation is different. You can't generalize. Take Jin Buhuan for example. Before he obtained the inheritance of the tyrannical lion, he was much stronger than you. However, after obtaining the inheritance of the tyrannical lion, his strength improved by leaps and bounds. Therefore, you can't just look at what's in front of you." "Thank you for your advice, Brother Emo. I understand now." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun felt much better. He thanked Emo Qingyun. "Let's go. We'll find a place to treat your injuries." Chapter 885. After a while, Emo Qingyun helped Wu Dun into a stone room. "Take this spirit tortoise bone replenishing golden pill. It can help you recover faster." After helping Wu Dun to sit down, Emo Qingyun took out a golden elixir and handed it to Wu Dun. "Thank you, Brother Emo." Looking at the elixir that Emo Qingyun handed over, Wu Dun did not refuse. He took the elixir and swallowed it. Seeing that Wu Dun had taken the elixir, Emo Qingyun stood up and walked to the side. He did not want to disturb him. After walking to the side, Emo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and prepared to cultivate the soul-stealing demon. The soul-stealing demon was a special ability that was passed down to the descendants through the power of the bloodline. It could be considered a heavenly soul demon. Of course, it was very difficult for the heavenly soul demons to awaken this special ability. They had to have a bloodline strength of 7 stars and above. More importantly, even if they had a bloodline strength of 7 stars and above, they might not be able to awaken the soul-stealing demon. Other than that, even if they awakened the soul-stealing demon, due to the strength of the bloodline, the completeness of the inheritance would be different. Of course, Emo Qingyun did not need to worry about this. His bloodline strength of the heavenly soul demon had already surpassed 9 stars. The inheritance that he had received was undoubtedly the most complete. Under Emo Qingyun's careful observation, he discovered that the information recorded in his mind contained not only the cultivation method of the soul-seizing demon, but also some of the cultivation experiences of his predecessors. From this, it could be seen how great the benefits of having a strong bloodline strength were. He could even inherit the cultivation experiences of the ancestors. With the cultivation experiences of the predecessors, I will be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort when cultivating the soul-stealing demon. After obtaining the cultivation experiences of the ancestors of the heavenly soul demon, Emo Qingyun was immediately overjoyed. A bright smile appeared on his face. To him, this was an unexpected gain. Then, Emo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and began to cultivate his innate ability, soul-stealing demon. Under Emo Qingyun's cultivation, his left eye began to turn deep and turbid, forming a black vortex. After the black eyeball was formed, it slowly flew out of Emo Qingyun's left eye and emitted an astonishing suction force. However, this suction force was not used on the devouring gate. It was used to devour souls. What an amazing ability! Sensing the power of the soul-stealing demon, Emo Qingyun was immediately shocked, and the pleasant surprise on his face became even more apparent. The stronger the soul-seizing demonic soul was, the better it would be for him. It would become a powerful trump card for him. However, before Emo Qingyun could recover from his joy, the black vortex collapsed. Looks like it's not something that can be accomplished in one go if I want to successfully master the demon's soul-seizing technique. Seeing the black vortex collapse, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and he sighed in his heart. However, Emo Qingyun did not feel frustrated because of this. Instead, he began to cultivate tirelessly. With Emo Qingyun's continuous cultivation, the time that the black vortex could be maintained became longer and longer. Emo Qingyun spent the rest of the time cultivating. Time passed by quietly. When Emo Qingyun was cultivating wholeheartedly, 3 young people came to Dongxing Holy City in the sanctuary Divine Land and walked into the city together. These 3 people were Iron Wing, Fang Yuan, and Huangfu Qingsong, who came from the Tianjian Mountain. Senior Fellow Apprentice Iron Wing, Dongxing Holy City is just SOSO. It's not even as good as an ordinary small city at the foot of our Tianjian Mountain. Walking into Dongxing Holy City, Fang Yuan showed a disdainful expression and glanced disdainfully at the interior of the holy city. Hearing Fang Yuan's words, Huangfu Qingsong smiled apologetically and said to him, "Senior Fellow Apprentice Fang Yuan, compared with the Tianjian Mountain, the sanctuary Divine Land is just a remote place. In this way, Dongxing Holy City can't be compared with the cities at the foot of the Tianjian Mountain." "Haha, that's true." After Huangfu Qingsong's explanation, Fang Yuan nodded naturally. His expression was more arrogant, as if he wanted to show how noble he was. Seeing Fang Yuan's performance, Iron Wing frowned slightly. He looked at Fang Yuan seriously and said, "Junior Fellow Apprentice Fang Yuan, although Dongxing Holy City is not as prosperous as the cities at the foot of the Tianjian Mountain, it has a long history, and its foundation is far from the cities at the foot of the Tianjian Mountain. Therefore, we still need to be careful." Yes, Senior Fellow Apprentice Iron Wing. Iron Wing was still very prestigious in Fang Yuan's heart. After hearing the words of Iron Wing, Fang Yuan immediately nodded humbly. "Well, let's find an inn to stay first." Seeing that Fang Yuan restrained his arrogance, Iron Wing nodded with satisfaction and led the 2 people into the city. At this time, the crowd in front of them suddenly became restless and rushed to Dongxing Holy City one by one. "Have you heard? Lin Jisong is going to challenge Ruan Xinyun for the first place of the Divine Land Heroes list. Is it true? It is said that no one who has challenged Ruan Xinyun in the past 3 years could take one move from him. How can it be false? Don't you see everyone running to the Colosseum of the Divine Land? It is said that they are going to fight soon." When the passers-by walked forward, they all looked expectant and spoke excitedly. The Divine Land Heroes list. Hearing the words of the passers-by in front of him, Fang Yuan showed a curious expression. He looked at Huangfu Qingsong and asked, "Junior Fellow Apprentice Qingsong, what's the matter with the Divine Land Heroes list?" "Senior Fellow Apprentice Fang, the Divine Land Heroes list is a strength ranking for the Heaven Gang realm geniuses in the sanctuary Divine Land." Seeing that Fang Yuan asked him, Huangfu Qingsong explained to him and said, "Just like the Divine Land nobility list in the Eastern continent, it is a strength ranking for the geniuses in the Divine Land." "I see." After hearing Huangfu Qingsong's words, Fang Yuan's face became clear. He looked at Iron Wing expectantly and said, "Senior Fellow Apprentice Iron Wing, the master said that going out for experience is good for my practice. These geniuses on the Divine Land Heroes list are some good targets for experience. Can you accompany me to meet them?" "Okay." Iron Wing did not stop Fang Yuan's request. He nodded and acquiesced to his request. Then he said, "You can challenge the geniuses on the Divine Land Heroes list, but don't kill people in the process of the competition so as not to cause unnecessary trouble." "Got it, Senior Fellow Apprentice Iron Wing." Seeing that Iron Wing agreed to his request, Fang Yuan immediately showed a happy face and patted his chest to guarantee. Then, Iron Wing and other 2 people went to the Colosseum of the Divine Land to let Fang Yuan challenge the geniuses on the Divine Land Heroes list. Chapter 886. Junior Fellow Apprentice Chingsong, have you ever challenged the geniuses on the Divine Land Heroes list? On the way to the fighting arena of the Divine Land, Fong Yuan asked Huang Fu Chingsong with a curious expression. Senior Fellow Apprentice Fong, when I first came to the Sanctuary Divine Land, I fought with some people on the Divine Land Heroes list. In response to Fong Yuan's inquiry, Huang Fu Chingsong nodded humbly and said with shame, because of my low cultivation, I only defeated Wan Jun, who ranked 57th. Now I am temporarily ranked 57th on the list of elites of the Divine Land. Huang Fu Chingsong's words seemed to be modest, but if one observed carefully, one could see a trace of pride between his eyebrows. However, it was reasonable to think that those who could enter the Divine Land Heroes list were all first-class geniuses. Huang Fu Chingsong could defeat Wan Jun, who ranked 57th, which was enough to prove that his talent was outstanding. He indeed had the capital to be proud. Junior Fellow Apprentice Chingsong, with your cultivation in the 9th hurdle of Heavenly Gang Realm, you defeated Wan Jun, who ranked 57th. It is enough to prove that your talent is extraordinary. You don't have to belittle yourself. Hearing Huang Fu Chingsong's words, Fong Yuan encouraged him and said, when your cultivation reaches the peak of Heavenly Gang Realm, your strength will definitely soar again. At that time, it is not impossible to defeat the top 10 geniuses. Senior Fellow Apprentice Fong, thank you for your encouragement. Huang Fu Chingsong smiled modestly and thanked Fong Yuan. He flattered, Senior Fellow Apprentice Fong, your cultivation is profound and your strength is unfathomable. Your talent in swordsmanship is unparalleled. You can easily defeat the top 10 geniuses. Top 10? Hearing Huang Fu Chingsong's words, Fong Yuan was slightly stunned. Then he laughed and said arrogantly, Junior Fellow Apprentice Chingsong, you underestimate me too much. My goal is not the top 10. Not the top 10? Then? Hearing Fong Yuan's words, Huang Fu Chingsong was surprised and asked curiously again. Wait a minute, you will know. Fong Yuan pretended to smile mysteriously and did not answer Huang Fu Chingsong's question. He followed Iron Wing into the palace in front of him. This palace was the fighting arena of the Divine Land, where the geniuses on the Divine Land Heroes list competed. The fighting arena of the Divine Lands was very spacious, covering an area of tens of thousands of acres. Around the Colosseum of the Divine Lands, there were rows of stair-like seats. In the middle was a huge martial arts arena. The martial arts practice field was divided into several areas, namely the 100th area, the 1000th area, and the crownless area, allowing martial artists of different ranks to compete. Iron Wing and the other two walked into the Colosseum of the Divine Lands. They saw two extraordinary young men facing off in the 100th place of the martial arts arena. These two young men were not weak. They had both reached the peak of Heaven Dipper 9th stage, and were only a step away from the transcendent realm. Not only that, but if one were to carefully observe them, one would be able to sense a natural aura from them. Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun are both so strong. Just the aura they are emitting is enough to make my heart palpitate. Of course, both of them have comprehended the power of the grand momentum of the world. How can you compare to them? I wonder who will win between the two of them? I'm really looking forward to this battle. Looking at the two young men in the martial arts practice field, the spectators in the Colosseum were all excited. It turns out that they are Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. Knowing the identities of the two young men in the martial arts practice field from others, Fong Yuan showed a playful smile and said, these two people have a certain control of the power of the grand momentum of the world. They are good sparring partners. After Fong Yuan finished his words, he stopped and said to Iron Wing and Huang Fu Chingsong, Senior Fellow Apprentice Iron Wing and Junior Fellow Apprentice Chingsong, you two go to the spectator area. I'll meet them. After Fong Yuan finished his words, he turned and walked into the martial arts practice field, intending to challenge Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. Seeing Fang Yuan's action, Huang Fu Qingsong was shocked and said, "Senior fellow apprentice Fang Yuan, don't you wait for their battle to end? Do you want to challenge both of them at the same time?" Huang Fu Qingsong had fought with people on the list of outstanding talents of the Divine Land. He knew the strength of people on the list of outstanding talents of the Divine Land. In particular, the top 10 people were all outstanding talents. Their strength was definitely not as simple as it looked. At this moment, Fang Yuan actually wanted to challenge the first and the second at the same time. It had to be said that this move was a bit crazy. It's more interesting if they fight together. Fang Yuan smiled confidently and responded calmly. Then he continued to walk into the martial arts practice field. "Junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, let's go." For Fang Yuan's action, Iron Wing was calm and didn't feel anything wrong at all. Senior fellow apprentice Iron Wing, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun have both comprehended the power of the grand momentum. It's not easy to defeat them, or? Hearing Iron Hoof's words, Huang Fu Qingsong was still worried and wanted Iron Hoof to stop Fang Yuan. But before Huang Fu Qingsong finished his words, Iron Wing raised his hand and interrupted him. He said calmly, "Junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, you don't have to worry. Junior fellow apprentice Fang's sword momentum has reached the peak of the initial stage. These two people have just touched the initial stage. If they fight with junior fellow apprentice Fang alone, they can't even take one move of junior fellow apprentice Fang. The peak of the initial stage of the initial stage." Hearing this, Huang Fu Qingsong was stunned. He was shocked by Iron Wing's words. Huang Fu Qingsong knew very well how difficult it was to comprehend the mysterious power of the general momentum of heaven and earth. If one didn't encounter any adventures, even the strong man of the magical realm could hardly touch the surface of it. Even if he touched the surface, it was as difficult as climbing to the sky if he wanted to improve it to the next level. Under normal circumstances, even the strong man of the magical realm could only improve the realm of the general momentum of heaven and earth to the peak of the initial stage of the initial stage. It could be seen that Fang Yuan, who was only at the peak of the Heaven Gang realm, could do this. How amazing it was! In the Kanglan Devil's Valley, after Mo Qingyun's continuous practice, he had become more and more proficient in the control of soul-snatching demon. However, with Mo Qingyun's continuous practice, he found that his mastery of soul-snatching demon seemed to have entered the bottleneck stage. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was practicing, stopped his hand movements. "If I continue to practice hard like this, it is impossible to improve my mastery of soul-snatching demon. It seems that I have to change my way." Seeing that his control of the soul-seizing demon soul was unable to improve, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed tightly as he pondered. "If I find a trial target and continuously use the soul-seizing demon soul on him, perhaps I can achieve a new breakthrough in my control of the soul-seizing demon soul. By the way, that Jin Buhuan is a good trial target." After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately took Jin Buhuan out of the Five Directions Tower. Chapter 887. In the 100th place of the martial arts practice field of the Shenzhou fighting arena. Seeing Fang Yuan approaching, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun, who were confronting each other, looked at Fang Yuan with surprise. Someone actually dared to disturb them while the two of them were fighting. This guy's guts were really not small. Of course, besides being surprised, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were more unhappy at this moment. This guy's current behavior was a kind of disdain and provocation to them. "Boy, get out of the martial arts practice field immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude to you." Lin Jisong's expression was gloomy. He stared at Fang Yuan with cold eyes and said a command. "Being rude to me?" Fang Yuan heard it and smiled brightly. He provoked, "I am afraid that you don't dare to fight with me. In this case, you two can fight with me together." "You two can fight with me together?" Hearing Fang Yuan's arrogant words, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were stunned. They thought that they misheard. Among the people in the same realm, the guy in front of them was the first one who dared to provoke them like this. Boy, since you want to die, I will help you. Lin Jisong, who was more irritable, said an angry word after hearing it. He waved the long sword in his hand to cut Fang Yuan. Dazzling sun swordsmanship, fluorescent sword shadow. The long sword in Lin Jisong's hand was waved by him. It bloomed a dazzling light and burst out many fluorescent sword shadows. These fluorescent sword shadows seemed illusory, but they gave people a real threat. It was difficult to distinguish between illusion and reality. Not only that, at this moment, when Lin Jisong waved his sword, he also exuded a fierce momentum. An elementary level sword force is not enough to pose a threat to me. For Lin Jisong's attack, Fang Yuan showed a disapproving expression. He shook his head disdainfully and said, "With your strength alone, you are not my opponent. Let him fight with you." After Fang Yuan finished his words, he did not hesitate to wave the long sword in his hand. Azura swordsmanship, stone sword falling from the sky. Fang Yuan made gestures with both hands and directly threw the long sword in his hand into the sky. Then, the long sword bloomed with dim black light. After the dim black light appeared, it split into the shadow of a black stone sword and rapidly descended from the sky. Chop chop chop, the stone sword descended at an extremely fast speed, like a storm. It crazily stabbed into the ground, emitting a series of muffled sounds. When these stone swords fell, a sword curtain like an iron wall formed in front of Fang Yuan and easily blocked Lin Jisong's attack. Not only that, after Fang Yuan took action, his body also broke out an amazing momentum, which was stronger and more mysterious than that of Lin Jisong. Peak of novice-level sword force. Sensing the sword momentum of Fang Yuan, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were shocked and became serious. To be able to raise the sword force realm to the peak of initial glimpse when he was at the peak of Heavenly Dipper realm, he was definitely not an ordinary person. The realm of the general trend of heaven and earth was divided into novice-level sword force, small success, higher-level sword force, peak-level sword force, return to nature and integration of heaven and men. Each small realm was divided into 4 levels, namely the initial level, the intermediate level, the advanced level and the peak level. Now the sword force realm of Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun could only be regarded as the initial level sword force realm. This showed how big the gap between their sword force realm and Fang Yuan's was. Lin Jisong, this person's origin is not simple. I will deal with him with you. Finding that Fang Yuan was not simple, Ruan Xinyun next to him did not dare to stand by and decided to join hands with Lin Jisong to deal with Fang Yuan. He was very clear about the truth that if Lin Jisong was defeated by Fang Yuan, it would be difficult for him to stay out of trouble. In order to avoid fighting alone, his best choice now was to join hands with Lin Jisong to deal with Fang Yuan. Okay. After a confrontation with Fang Yuan, Lin Jisong also knew that Fang Yuan was powerful, so he did not object to Ruan Xinyun's suggestion. It's interesting. Seeing that Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun joined hands, Fang Yuan was not nervous at all. Instead, he exuded a strong fighting desire. This was exactly the situation he wanted. Then, Fang Yuan urged the sword force to the extreme and took the initiative to attack Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. Shura sword tactics, Ghost Flame Gale. Fang Yuan's long sword was waved by him, and suddenly the light shone brightly. Streaks of red-black runes appeared. After these red-black runes appeared, a terrifying momentum broke out from them, giving people a feeling of extreme danger. Then, as Fang Yuan constantly waved the long sword in his hand, a red-black whirlwind emerged from the long sword. These whirlwinds moved extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they came to Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. So powerful! Who is this person? How can he have such terrifying strength? Seeing Fang Yuan's terrifying attack means, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun's expressions changed greatly, and a sense of fear rose in their hearts. At present, Fang Yuan's powerful combat power had already frightened them and made them feel that they were invincible. However, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were both first-class geniuses. Although they were frightened, they still resisted in time. Shining Sun swordsmanship, Shining Sun stardust. Lin Jisong waved the long sword in his hand and cut out a silver wheel, which rotated crazily forward. Under the impact of this silver wheel, the space in front was distorted, as if it was going to be penetrated by this silver wheel. When Lin Jisong attacked, Ruan Xinyun did not hesitate and immediately waved the huge sword in his hand. The huge sword in Ruan Xinyun's hand was 7 feet long and 1 foot wide. It was even bigger than his whole body. It deserved to be called a huge sword. Earth-splitting swordsmanship, Overlord's sword. The huge sword was waved by Ruan Xinyun. After rotating 360 degrees in the air, it was domineeringly inserted into the ground. As Ruan Xinyun's huge sword was inserted into the ground not far in front of him immediately burst out a bright golden light. As soon as the golden light appeared, the ground began to shake and a huge crack appeared. After this crack appeared, a golden huge sword with a length of 10 meters and a width of more than 1 meter flew out of the crack in the shadow. Clang, clang, clang. Then, the reddish-black whirlwind collided with the golden huge sword and the silver wheel, making a sound of metal colliding. Under the impact of the reddish-black whirlwind, the golden huge sword and the silver wheel only resisted for a moment and were overbearingly defeated by it. After defeating the golden huge sword and the silver wheel, the speed of the reddish-black whirlwind sword did not decrease. In the blink of an eye, it blasted on Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. Bang bang, attacked by the reddish-black whirlwind, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were blown out at the same time. They fell heavily on the ground with an incredible expression on their faces. With the strength of the two people, even if they joined hands, they were not the opponent's opponent. Chapter 888. You are too weak. Fang Yuan didn't pay attention to the shock of Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun. He just shook his head disappointedly. After saying that, Fang Yuan didn't stay any longer and walked out of the martial arts practice field. Junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, let's go. Seeing Fang Yuan walk out of the martial arts practice field, Iron Wing told Huang Fu Qingsong and stood up to walk out of the auditorium. Then, Iron Wing and the other two left the fighting arena of the Divine Land together, leaving the audience with a dull expression. Silence. At this moment, the entire martial arts practice field was extremely quiet. Everyone widened their eyes and showed an incredible expression. They looked at Fang Yuan, who was gradually walking away. With just a single move, Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun were both defeated by him in a domineering manner. Fang Yuan's strength was far beyond their expectations. Wow! After a short silence, there was an uproar in the martial arts practice field. Everyone talked at once. Damn, who is that young man? How can he be so strong? Yes, it's too abnormal. He defeated Lin Jisong and Ruan Xinyun with one move. From now on, Ruan Xinyun will no longer be the first place of the Divine Land Heroes list. For a moment, everyone sighed and marveled at Fang Yuan's strength. At the same time, everyone began to take action to investigate Fang Yuan's origin and identity. Fang Yuan and the other two didn't know the actions of the people in the fighting arena of the Divine Land. Of course, they didn't want to know. After leaving the fighting arena of the Divine Land, Iron Wing and the other two found an inn to stay and prepared to go to the Sun and Moon City the next day. It was a quiet night. After a night's rest in the inn, Iron Wing and the other two didn't continue to stay in Dongxing Holy City. They set off directly for the Sun and Moon City. 10 days passed in a flash. Led by Huang Fu Qingsong, they finally arrived at the Sun and Moon City after 10 days of continuous travel. Master, you are back. Seeing Huang Fu Qingsong approaching, Uncle Fu, the butler of the Qingsong mansion, greeted him respectfully. Uncle Fu, has Mo Qingyun done anything recently? Looking at the approaching butler Fu, Huang Fu Qingsong wore a solemn expression and asked about Mo Qingyun. Fu Bo's expression turned grave when he heard Huang Fu Qingsong ask about Mo Qingyun. He whispered, "Young master, Mo Qingyun left Sun Moon City not long after you left." Mo Qingyun left Sun Moon City? Hearing Uncle Fu's answer, Huang Fu Qingsong, Fang Yuan and Iron Wing were all surprised. They were a little surprised. He actually let Mo Qingyun slip away in advance. After a brief moment of surprise, Huang Fu Qingsong's expression turned serious. He asked again, "Did anyone continue to follow Mo Qingyun after he left Sun Moon City? Also, where is Mo Qingyun now?" After Mo Qingyun left Sun Moon City, this old servant immediately sent people to follow him. However, the people who followed him were either killed or lost. Fu Bo had an ashamed expression as he briefly recounted the matter of following Mo Qingyun. Then, he said, however, not long ago, this old servant heard that Wenhao City's Huang clan was exterminated by a group of people. This old servant suspects that the group of people was Mo Qingyun and the others. The hatred between the Huang family and Mo Qingyun is not shallow. They do have the motive. When he recalled the enmity between Mo Qingyun and the Huang clan, Huang Fu Qingsong nodded in agreement towards Uncle Fu's guess, and then he said, "Could it be that Mo Qingyun and the others are in Wenhao City now?" No. After that group of people destroyed the Huang family, they left Wenhao City directly and didn't stay in Wenhao City for a long time. Hearing Huang Fu Qingsong's guess, Uncle Fu immediately shook his head and denied it. He paused and said, however, not long ago, someone said that a mysterious realm appeared in Kanglan City. I think that Mo Qingyun may go to Kanglan City. Kanglan City? Hearing Uncle Fu's words, Huang Fu Qingsong frowned slightly. He turned to look at Iron Wing and asked, "Senior fellow apprentice Iron Wing, what do you think we should do now? From the looks of it, they've already lost track of Mo Qingyun." Tai Yi was silent for a moment when he heard Huang Fu Qingsong asking for his opinion. Then, he said, "Since it's like this, we'll stay in Sun Moon City for 3 more days. During these 3 days, get your subordinates to search for Qingyun's whereabouts with all their might." Okay. Hearing Iron Wing's words, Huang Fu Qingsong didn't dare to neglect. He immediately told Uncle Fu, "Uncle Fu, you immediately tell them to search for Mo Qingyun's whereabouts at all costs." "Yes, I will do it right away." Uncle Fu nodded and left to make arrangements for Huang Fu Qingsong's instructions. After telling Uncle Fu, Huang Fu Qingsong smiled faintly and said to Iron Wing and Fang Yuan, "Senior fellow apprentice Tai and senior fellow apprentice Fang, you two have just arrived in Sun Moon City. How about I find a place to welcome you?" "Thank you, junior fellow apprentice Qingsong." Fang Yuan smiled brightly and agreed with Huang Fu Qingsong's suggestion. He asked curiously, "Junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, is there any special place in Sun Moon City?" "Special place?" Huang Fu Qingsong frowned slightly. After thinking for a while, he smiled faintly and said to Fang Yuan, "Senior fellow apprentice Tai and senior fellow apprentice Fang, there is a branch of Yaoqi Immortal Pavilion in Sun Moon City. There is a very beautiful girl, Sia. You two can follow me to have a look." Yaoqi Immortal Pavilion. Hearing Huang Fu Qingsong mention Yaoqi Immortal Pavilion, Fang Yuan immediately showed interest and said with an evil smile, "I have heard that the women in Yaoqi Immortal Pavilion are as beautiful as fairies, but I haven't had a chance to see them. I didn't expect you to have this opportunity. If that's the case, please come with me, senior brothers." Then, Huang Fu Qingsong no longer hesitated and immediately took Iron Wing and Fang Yuan to Yaoqi Immortal Pavilion. In a stone room in Kanglin Devil Valley. Boy, kill me if you dare. It's impossible to torture me with this evil method and make me yield to you. A young man with disheveled hair and a crazy look knelt in front of Mo Qingyun and said angry words. This young man was none other than Jin Buhuan, who was captured by Mo Qingyun. During this period, Mo Qingyun had been practicing soul-snatching demon with the help of Jin Buhuan. It could be said that Jin Buhuan was badly tortured. With the help of Jin Buhuan's practice, Mo Qingyun had become more and more proficient in soul-snatching demon. Although he couldn't use it at will, he could use it easily and gradually showed the power of soul-snatching demon. If Jin Buhuan hadn't had good strength and obtained the inheritance of the tyrannical lion, Mo Qingyun would have already stripped his soul. Soul-snatching demon. Mo Qingyun ignored Jin Buhuan's roar and used soul-snatching demon on him again. A black eyeball vortex slowly flew out of Mo Qingyun's left eye, emitting a shocking aura. The black eyeball vortex emitted a shocking suction force after it flew out of Mo Qingyun's left eye. Under the suction force, a transparent figure struggled to emerge from Jin Buhuan's body. How can this be? After the transparent figure emerged from Jin Buhuan's body, he said in a panic, "No, impossible. You can't do this. How can you separate my soul from my body?" I finally did it. Seeing Jin Buhuan's soul being pulled out of his body bit by bit, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed. He said coldly, "Nothing is impossible. If you don't know something, it only shows that you don't know enough. Come out." After replying to Jin Buhuan, Mo Qingyun's left eye shone brightly and increased the suction force of the black eyeball vortex. Chapter 889. You. What are you going to do to me? After Jin Buhuan's soul left his body, he asked Mo Qingyun in a panicked tone, his expression one of horror. He was like a rootless duckweed that had completely lost control of his fate. "You'll find out soon enough." Mo Qingyun ignored Jin Buhuan's panic and replied coldly. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he quickly formed hand seals with his hand. After the seals were formed, they shone brightly and formed a strange rune. Soul-locking seal, go! When he saw the strange rune being formed, Mo Qingyun lifted his hand and pointed at the rune, controlling it to attack Jin Buhuan. The soul-locking seal was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it was above Jin Buhuan's soul. It released a golden light that enveloped Jin Buhuan's soul. After the golden light enveloped Jin Buhuan's soul, it compressed it bit by bit and allowed it to merge with the soul-locking seal. No. As Jin Buhuan was being compressed by the soul-locking seal, he uttered fearful words, "Mo Qingyun, I won't avenge my second brother. As long as you promise not to kill me, we'll forget about our past grudges. Please spare me, spare you?" In response to Jin Buhuan's pleas, Mo Qingyun shook his head coldly and said, "That's impossible. I won't allow a potential threat to exist. I don't want you to bring me trouble one day. So be obedient and let your soul be locked." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he increased the strength of the soul-locking seal. Then, Jin Buhuan's soul started to shrink under the soul-locking seal. Finally, it was completely sealed in the soul-locking seal and turned into a small golden seal. Seeing that Jin Buhuan was completely sealed by the soul-locking seal, Mo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction and raised his hand to keep the golden seal. After keeping the golden seal in his hand, Mo Qingyun released his soul power to refine the golden seal. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous refinement, the golden seal shone brighter and its aura became purer. Roar. After an unknown period of time, the image of a golden lion appeared on the golden seal and let out a resounding roar. Success. Seeing the golden lion silhouette appear, Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised and excited. This golden lion was the tyrannical lion's inheritance that Jin Buhuan had obtained. Mo Qingyun had used the soul-locking seal to seal Jin Buhuan's soul to prevent him from self-destructing, which would cause the tyrannical lion's inheritance to dissipate along with his soul. Under Mo Qingyun's refinement, Jin Buhuan's soul consciousness had been completely erased. All that was left was the complete inheritance of the tyrannical lion. Seeing that the tyrannical lion's inheritance was complete, Mo Qingyun took the golden seal and walked up to Wu Dun. Dusty seal, this is the core of the tyrannical lion's inheritance. Fuse with it and you will obtain the complete inheritance of the tyrannical lion. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun was shocked. He looked at Mo Qingyun in disbelief. Brother Mo? You want to give me the tyrannical lion's inheritance? Mo Qingyun's actions were too unexpected and unimaginable for Wu Dun. The tyrannical lion's inheritance was an extremely powerful inheritance. It was not an exaggeration to say that it was one that only appeared once in 1,000 years. After Jin Buhuan obtained the tyrannical lion's inheritance, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. How could Wu Dun not be shocked when Mo Qingyun wanted to give something so precious to him? Brother Mo, this is too precious. I cannot accept it. After a short moment of shock, Wu Dun was moved. He rejected Mo Qingyun's good intentions. Seeing Wu Dun's reaction, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. I have obtained an even more powerful inheritance. The tyrannical lion's inheritance is not very useful to me. Thus, it is more suitable for you to fuse with it. Mo Qingyun was not lying. He had obtained the bloodline of the heavenly soul demon race. The tyrannical lion's inheritance was not very useful to him. When Mo Qingyun was refining the tyrannical lion's inheritance, he already knew the origin of the tyrannical lion's inheritance. It was the inheritance left behind by the tyrannical lion's star general. But you can give it to your friends and family. After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Wu Dun was still in a difficult position. He was too embarrassed to accept the tyrannical lion's inheritance. You may not know, but the soul-locking seal can only seal the core of the tyrannical lion's inheritance for 3 days. If no one fuses with it within 3 days, it will disappear from the world. Thus, don't refuse it anymore. Seeing that Wu Dun was still refusing, Mo Qingyun explained to him. I see. If that's the case, then I won't stand on ceremony with you. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wu Dun was relieved. He did not refuse Mo Qingyun and took the golden seal. Seeing that Wu Dun had accepted the tyrannical lion's inheritance, Mo Qingyun did not disturb him. He stood up and walked to the side. After walking to the side, Mo Qingyun sat down with his legs crossed and took out the wind vortex crystal from his cosmos pouch. Afterwards, Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun began to cultivate again. One fused with the inheritance, while the other increased his cultivation. Sun Moon City, Jade Lake Pavilion. Under Huang Fu Qingsong's lead, the Iron Wings group arrived at a room in the Jade Lake Pavilion with great familiarity. Soon after entering the room, Huang Fu Qingsong told Granny Silver Flower to invite Xie over. Granny Silver Flower was still very wary of Huang Fu Qingsong's identity. As a result, she agreed without any hesitation when she heard Huang Fu Qingsong's request. Before long, Xie arrived at the Iron Wings room under Granny Silver Flower's escort. Xie greets the 3 young masters. After entering the room, Xie bowed gently and greeted the Iron Wings group. Looking at Xie in front of him, the Iron Wings' eyes flashed with gray light. He said in surprise, Nine-Tailed Fox Clan, you are a member of the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan? How do you know? Hearing the Iron Wings' words, Xie suddenly looked shocked and looked at the Iron Wing in horror. The person in front of her actually saw through her origin at a glance, which really shocked her. Senior Fellow Apprentice Tai, what is the Nine-Tailed Fox Clan? Hearing the conversation between the Iron Wing and Xie, Huang Fu Qingsong and Fang Yuan were curious and asked the Iron Wing. This is a matter of great importance. You two don't need to ask more. Hearing the inquiry of Fang Yuan and Fang Yuan, the Iron Wing showed a solemn expression and stopped their curiosity. He looked at Xie and said, "Miss, can I have a word with you?" After the Iron Wing finished his words, he walked directly outside the private room before Xie refused. Seeing this, Xie frowned slightly. After a little hesitation, she followed the Iron Wing out of the private room. After a while, under the guidance of the Iron Wing, the two came to a secluded place. After coming here, the Iron Wing did not say much and directly roared to the sky. Then, his body began to change and turned into a four-winged goshawk. Four-winged skyhawk, are you a member of the four-winged skyhawk clan? Looking at the appearance of the Iron Wing in front of her, Xie was shocked. She was shocked by the origin of the Iron Wing. The four-winged skyhawk clan was an extremely powerful clan on the Wild Continent, much stronger than the nine-tailed fox clan. Chapter 890. It seems that you already know where I came from. Seeing that Xie had recognized his identity, the Iron Wing transformed back into his human form and said straightforwardly, "Little girl, where is the nine-tailed star general? Take me to see her." Nine-tailed star general? Xie had a puzzled expression. She didn't know who the nine-tailed star general that the Iron Wing was talking about was. She asked, "Senior, this junior doesn't know who the nine-tailed star general you're talking about is. Did you get the wrong person?" Hearing Xie's answer, the Iron Wing's expression suddenly darkened and his eyes turned cold. After a while, the Iron Wing saw that Xie didn't look like she was faking it and his expression gradually improved. "Since you're not the descendant of the nine-tailed star general, how did you come to the Tianhun continent?" According to the Iron Wing's understanding of the Tianhun continent, this was only a small world. Ordinary people couldn't enter at all. With Xie's cultivation at the second level of the God tier, it was absolutely impossible for her to cross the 7 great ancient roads to come here from the Wild Continent. Hearing the Iron Wing's question, Xie had a difficult expression and hesitated whether she should tell the Iron Wing the truth or not. After pondering for a moment, Xie decided to tell the Iron Wing the truth. She felt that with the Iron Wing's astonishing background, it was impossible for her to hide it. Next, Xie roughly described her experience in the Tianhun continent to the Iron Wing. "There's such a thing." After listening to Xie's story, the Iron Wing's expression changed slightly. He was very surprised by this result. At this moment, while Xie and the Iron Wing elder were talking, a young man walked over with a faint smile. "Xie, who is this young master?" The young man walked to Xie's side and looked at the Iron Wing with curiosity. He asked Xie, "Lang Ping, this is Senior Iron Wing." Xie didn't hide the fact that the young man beside her was asking about the Iron Wing's identity. She introduced the Iron Wing and said, "Senior Iron Wing, this is Lang Ping. He came to the Tianhun continent with me." When Shiyu introduced Lang Ping to Tai Yi, Tai Yi's expression darkened even further. He stared coldly at Lang Ping, the Lunar Eclipse Wolf Clan. "I didn't think I'd run into a Lunar Eclipse Wolf Clan member on the Tianhun continent." "Senior, what is the Moon Eclipse Wolf Clan? Why don't I understand what you're saying?" Lang Ping's face twitched when he saw that the Iron Wing recognized him. He panicked and played dumb. The Iron Wing had expected Lang Ping's reaction. He looked at Lang Ping with a cold smile. "You don't need to pretend under my Skyhawk demonic eye. You can't fool me with these little tricks." "Skyhawk demonic eye?" Lang Ping's expression was stunned at first. Following that, his face revealed a horrified expression as he looked at Iron Wing and said in a panic, You're a member of the four-winged Heavenly Eagle clan. How did you come to the Heavenly Soul continent?" At this moment, Lang Ping's heart could be said to be extremely panicked. His heart was in his throat. His ancestors had once schemed against the four-winged Heavenly Eagle clan, causing their clan and the four-winged Heavenly Eagle clan to form a situation where they would fight to the death. Now that he had met the Iron Wing, it could be said that he had met his nemesis. How could he not be afraid? After a brief moment of panic, Lang Ping put on a pleading expression. He looked at Tai Yi and begged, "Senior, I grew up in the Tianhun continent and have never done anything that offends the heavens. Please spare me this one time?" Grew up on the Tianhun continent? The Iron Wing's expression turned cold when he saw that Lang Ping was spouting nonsense. He said in a sinister voice, "Brat, it seems like you can't change your old habits. No wonder people always say that the four-winged Skyhawk clan is hypocritical and treacherous. Everyone has the right to punish them for their lies. It seems that this is true. You should obediently accept your death." The Iron Wing didn't want to waste any more words with Lang Ping. He wanted to eliminate Lang Ping immediately. "Say, Senior, please wait." Lang Ping panicked when he saw that the Iron Wing wanted to kill him. He hurriedly said, I know that you're looking for Mo Qingyun's whereabouts. As long as you promise not to kill me, I can tell you where he is." Before Lang Ping came over, he had already sent Lan Linghong to investigate why Huang Fu Qingsong and the others had come to Sunmoon City. Therefore, when he saw that the Iron Wing wanted to kill him, he decided to give it a try. The Iron Wing's expression changed slightly when he heard Lang Ping's words. His hand stopped in front of Lang Ping. He said coldly, "Speak. Where is Mo Qingyun right now?" "Senior, Mo Qingyun has gone to the Kanglan Devil Valley. He seems to be looking for the Heavenly Soul Demon Emperor's inheritance." In order to save his life, Lang Ping made up a lie to scare the Iron Wing. However, he didn't know that his lie really hit the nail on the head with Mo Qingyun's plan. The Heavenly Soul Demon Emperor's inheritance? The Iron Wing's expression froze slightly. He fell into deep thought. No one knew what he was thinking. "You'd better not lie to me. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death," the Iron Wing said coldly to Lang Ping and Xia after pondering for a moment. He said, "The two of you will come with me to the Kanglan Devil Valley. I'll take care of your matters after I capture Mo Qingyun." The Iron Wing didn't wait for Xia and Huang Rong to speak. He directly went to look for Huang Fu Qingsong and Huang Rong. Xia and Huang Rong were helpless when they saw the Iron Wing's actions. They followed the Iron Wing silently. The Iron Wing and the others discussed for a while before they left Sun Moon City for the Kanglan Devil Valley. A few days later, in a stone room in the Tyrannical Lion's cave dwelling in the Kanglan Devil Valley. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was cultivating, suddenly sensed a shocking aura. Mo Qingyun exited his cultivation when he sensed the aura. He turned around and looked at the young man beside him. The young man was naturally Wu Dun, who had merged with the Tyrannical Lion's inheritance. Currently, Wu Dun's body was surrounded by a golden glow. He gave off a fanatical, primitive aura. At this moment, Wu Dun gave off the feeling of an ancient tyrannical lion. He was domineering, wild, and dignified. Who would have thought that Dusty Seal's compatibility with the tyrannical lion's inheritance would reach such a shocking level? Mo Qingyun was surprised when he observed Wu Dun's changes. He was a little surprised by the degree to which Wu Dun had merged with the tyrannical lion's inheritance. While Mo Qingyun was sizing up Wu Chunfeng, who was in the midst of cultivation, opened his eyes with a pleasantly surprised expression. After exiting his cultivation, Wu Dun immediately knelt down towards Mo Qingyun. He said gratefully, "Brother Mo, thank you for giving me a new lease on life. I will remember this kindness forever. If you have any orders for me in the future, I will not hesitate at all." Only after merging with the tyrannical lion's inheritance did Wu Dun truly understand how precious the tyrannical lion's inheritance was. As a result, his gratitude towards Mo Qingyun became even more intense. He could only express his gratitude by kneeling down. To put it bluntly, Emo Qingyun could be considered a teacher to him. Chapter 891. Emo Qingyun didn't feel flattered by Wu Dun's kneeling. Instead, he looked indifferent. He was Wu Dun's martial ancestor. It was normal for Wu Dun to bow to him. Not bad, not bad. With your current strength, you can defeat Huang Chuanlong and the other two in one move. After helping Wu Dun up, Emo Qingyun praised him and said, "Since you have absorbed the tyrannical lion's inheritance, let's leave the tyrannical lion's cave." Now that the tyrannical lion's cave's inheritance had been absorbed by Wu Dun, there was no point in staying. Therefore, Emo Qingyun decided to leave and return to the Kanglin Devil Valley to look for the Leg Devil's origin. Okay. Wu Dun nodded at Emo Qingyun's arrangement and followed Emo Qingyun out of the tyrannical lion's cave. After leaving the tyrannical lion's cave, Wu Dun accompanied Emo Qingyun to look for the Leg Devil in the Kanglin Devil Valley. Wu Dun's idea was simple. Emo Qingyun had given him the tyrannical lion's inheritance, so he should accompany Emo Qingyun to look for the Leg Devil. In the following time, Emo Qingyun and Wu Dun hunted the Leg Devil in the Kanglin Devil Valley. As Emo Qingyun continued to kill the Leg Devil and refine their bloodline power, the strength of his heavenly soul bloodline increased day by day. Not only that, but Emo Qingyun's cultivation had also made great progress after refining a large amount of the Leg Devil's bloodline. Unknowingly, Emo Qingyun's cultivation went from late-stage Heavenly Star Border Stage 6 to the peak of early-stage Heavenly Star Border Stage 7. Of course, during this period of time, Wu Dun's cultivation had also improved quite a bit. He had already reached the peak of Heaven Dipper realm. Time flew by. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. After a month of hunting, Emo Qingyun and Qin Nan had visited 90% of the places in the Kanglin Devil Valley. At this moment, Emo Qingyun and Wu Dun arrived in front of a huge river. This was the only place they hadn't searched. Apart from the Kanglin Black River, we visited every place in the Kanglin Demonic Valley. Looking at the huge river in front of him, Emo Qingyun had an excited expression on his face as he spoke impatiently. He had visited the entire Kanglin Devil Valley. If he was not mistaken, the origin of the Leg Demon should be in the Kanglin Black River. Thinking that after he refined the Leg Devil origin, the concentration of the Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline in his body would increase greatly, Emo Qingyun became excited. Of course, while Emo Qingyun was excited, he was also nervous and worried. He was worried that if the origin of the Leg Demon wasn't in the Kanglin Black River, his trip to the Kanglin Devil Valley would be in vain. "Brother Emo, do you really want to enter the Kanglin Black River? The danger in the river is much greater than on land." Looking at the huge river in front of him, Wu Dun had a serious expression as he asked Emo Qingyun for his opinion. "That's right." In response to Wu Dun's question, Emo Qingyun nodded affirmatively. He told Wu Dun, "Chen Feng, you don't have to follow me into the river. I'll go down alone." "Brother Emo, the river is extremely dangerous. If you go down alone, I'm afraid." After hearing Emo Qingyun's thoughts, Wu Dun wore a concerned expression. He immediately tried to persuade Emo Qingyun to follow him into the Kanglin Black River. However, before Wu Dun could finish his sentence, Emo Qingyun raised his hand and interrupted him. "I have a mystical ability that can conceal my identity. It will allow me to stay safe in the water. If you follow me, it will bring me some inconvenience." Hidden door. After Emo Qingyun finished his sentence, he executed the martial soul mystical ability, Hidden Door, concealing himself in front of Wu Dun. "There's such a mystical ability?" After seeing this, Wu Dun's eyes widened. He couldn't believe it. Following this, he didn't say anything else. He agreed with Emo Qingyun's decision. Judging from the situation, he knew that if he followed Emo Qingyun, it would indeed bring some inconvenience to Emo Qingyun. Alright, I'm going into the river. You'll be on your own for the rest of the time. Seeing the blank expression on Wu Dun's face, Emo Qingyun said to him before jumping into the Kanglan Black River. Brother Emo, I'll be cultivating here for the rest of the time. Once you come out from the Kanglan Black River, you can look for me here. Seeing Emo Qingyun jumping into the Kanglan Black River, Wu Dun said to Emo Qingyun. He then sat down with his legs crossed and began to cultivate. It's settled then. In the Kanglan Black River, Emo Qingyun poked his head out and nodded at Wu Dun. Following this, Emo Qingyun dove into the water and disappeared into the Kanglan Black River. As he dove into the Kanglan Black River, Emo Qingyun immediately felt a bone-chilling coldness drilling into his pores. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun immediately unleashed the energy in his body to drive away the coldness that was invading his body. After driving away the coldness in his body, Emo Qingyun began to swim forward, searching for the source of the leg demon in the Kanglan Black River. A moment later, a strange-looking black demonic fish appeared in Emo Qingyun's sight. The demonic fish was extremely huge, around 5 meters long. Its waist was as thick as a bucket. Its mouth had sharp fangs, giving it an extremely dangerous appearance. That being said, the strangest thing about the demonic fish was the 2 fins at its tail, which looked like a pair of human feet. Meanwhile, as Emo Qingyun was observing the strange fish, its figure disappeared with a flicker and appeared 100 meters away in the blink of an eye. Roar! When the black demonic fish appeared again, it came to the side of a demonic snake. It opened its mouth and bit down on the demonic snake. Crack! A crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard. Following this, the demonic snake was bitten in half by the demonic fish. After biting the demonic snake in half, the black demonic fish did not stop there. It swayed its body and swallowed the demonic snake into its stomach. This demonic fish seems to be related to the leg demon? Seeing the ferocious actions of the black demonic fish, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly. He was confused as he mumbled, "If I can kill this black demonic fish, I should be able to confirm my speculation." As the thought crossed his mind, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and attacked the black demonic fish. Saber glow from his eyes. At that instant, Emo Qingyun's left eye emitted a purple glow, which turned into a sharp saber glow slashing at the black demonic fish. Whoosh! The black demonic fish reacted extremely quickly. As soon as it sensed the approaching danger, its figure disappeared with a flicker. Poochie! Although the black demonic fish reacted quickly, the saber glow from his eyes was even faster. It landed on its body in an instant. Due to the sharp reaction of the black demonic fish, it managed to avoid being hit in its vital parts and was not killed by Emo Qingyun in one hit. However, although the black demonic fish avoided being hit in its vital parts, the 2 fins at its tail were cut off by the saber glow from his eyes. Chapter 892. There is indeed the bloodline of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan in this black demonic fish. After a while, Emo Qingyun, who was sitting on a green rock at the bottom of the river, opened his eyes with joy. His conjecture was finally verified. After confirming his guess, Emo Qingyun did not stay any longer. He stood up from the green rock and continued to search for the source of the leg devil. As Emo Qingyun continued to swim in the Kanglan Black River, more and more demonic fish appeared in his sight. These demonic fish were of different sizes and shapes, but they all had one thing in common. They all had a pair of human foot-shaped tail fins. In addition, the blood of these demonic fish contained the bloodline of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. With this discovery, Emo Qingyun was even more certain that the source of the leg devil was in the Kanglan Black River. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a few days later, a huge black demonic beast appeared in front of Emo Qingyun, emitting a shocking aura. This demonic beast looked like a jellyfish, quietly floating at the bottom of the Kanglan Black River. Around this demonic beast, there were all kinds of demonic fish. Some were huge, some were small, and they looked like newborn saplings. However, these demonic fish had one thing in common. They surrounded the jellyfish demonic beast like children seeing their mother. Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun's expression suddenly became excited, and his heartbeat began to accelerate. The source of the leg devil. This is the source of the leg devil. Of course, while Emo Qingyun was excited, he did not rush up rashly. One had to know that there were millions of demonic fish in the vicinity of the leg devil source. If he rushed up directly, he would definitely be torn to pieces by these demonic fish. Among these demonic fish, there were some demonic fish whose strength was comparable to the peak of the Heaven Star realm. They were not easy to deal with. It seems that I have to set up a formation to get rid of these demonic fish. Seeing this scene, Emo Qingyun pondered for a while and made a plan in his heart. After that, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began to set up the formation. Since the origin of the leg demon was enormous, it covered a huge area. On top of that, it was floating at the bottom of the Kanglan Black River. If Emo Qingyun wanted to set up an array formation to envelop it, it would not be a simple matter. Just like that, time passed bit by bit as Emo Qingyun set up the formation. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 6 days later, Emo Qingyun stopped what he was doing with a satisfied smile on his face. The array formation was finally completed. Heavenly Chief Raging Waves Sea-Splitting Formation, Rise. Seeing that the array formation was set up, Emo Qingyun quickly formed hand seals with both hands, activating the array formation. As soon as the formation was activated, the water around the source of the leg devil suddenly glowed with blue light, creating waves of dark blue waves. Once these waves were formed, they were closely connected to each other and constantly revolved around the source of the leg devil. As these waves continued to revolve, the demonic fish around the source of the leg devil were sent out of the formation wave after wave. After being separated by the Heavenly Chief Raging Waves Sea-Splitting Formation, the demonic fish immediately became restless and madly rushed towards the Heavenly Chief Raging Waves Sea-Splitting Formation. However, the Heavenly Chief Raging Waves Sea-Splitting Formation was a 7th grade formation. It was not something they could break through. Then, as time passed, more and more demonic fish were separated from the formation. After a few hours, the number of demonic fish around the source of the leg devil was less than 3-digit. This number of demonic fish was no longer a threat to Emo Qingyun. It's time to collect the source of the leg devil into the 5-directional pagoda. Seeing that the demonic fish around the source of the leg devil had been evacuated, Emo Qingyun revealed a bright smile with an anxious expression. It was finally time to collect the source of the leg devil. In a flash, Emo Qingyun entered the Heavenly Chief Raging Waves Sea-Splitting Formation and began to collect the source of the leg devil. Suddenly, a shocking suction force was emitted from the 5-directional pagoda and descended upon the source of the leg devil. Roar! Feeling the arrival of danger, the source of the leg devil immediately became restless and frantically waved its tentacles and umbrella. Under the resistance of the source of the leg devil, it quickly got rid of the suction force of the 5-directional pagoda. This also meant that Emo Qingyun's collection had failed. It seems that this still won't work. I have to weaken the strength of the source of the leg devil. Seeing that his operation had failed, Emo Qingyun slightly frowned and thought of a countermeasure. Sealed door. Emo Qingyun had a plan in mind. He no longer thought about it and used the sealed door on the source of the leg devil. Under the seal of the sealed door, the aura of the source of the leg devil was immediately weakened and its reaction became sluggish. However, Emo Qingyun did not collect the source of the leg devil again. Instead, he held the scorching flame halberd and stabbed at the source of the leg devil. Emo Qingyun intended to break some of the meridians of the source of the leg devil to weaken its control over the body and make the collection easier. It should be enough now. After a while, Emo Qingyun's body returned to its original position and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. Collect for me. Emo Qingyun once again summoned the 5-directional pagoda and began to collect the source of the leg devil. This time, the leg devil origin was sucked into the 5 directions miniature pagoda before it could put up any resistance. Now that the source of the leg devil is in my hands, it's time to refine it. After collecting the source of the leg devil, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and his figure flashed into the 5-directional pagoda. At this moment, when Emo Qingyun entered the 5-directional pagoda, Iron Wing and the others arrived outside the Kanglan Devil Valley. Such a dense heavenly soul demonic aura. Could it be that the body of the master is here? Looking at the Kanglan Devil Valley in front of him, Iron Wing frowned slightly and a trace of surprise appeared on his face. Looking at the surprised Iron Wing, Fang Yuan showed a dignified expression and said to Iron Wing, "Senior fellow apprentice Tai, the strong of the supernatural realm can't enter the Kanglan Devil Valley. Next, you stay outside the Kanglan Devil Valley and wait. Junior fellow apprentice Chingsong and I will go in to hunt down Emo Qingyun." Okay. Iron Wing agreed with Fang Yuan's suggestion and said, "Junior fellow apprentices, the Kanglan Devil Valley is not simple. You two should be more careful when you enter." "We know." Fang Yuan and Iron Wing nodded in response and walked into the Kanglan Devil Valley. After entering the Kanglan Devil Valley, Fang Yuan glanced around and told Huang Fu Chingsong, "Junior fellow apprentice Chingsong, let's ask some people to see if they have seen Emo Qingyun." Okay. With Fang Yuan's instruction, Huang Fu Chingsong nodded and began to ask people about the whereabouts of Emo Qingyun. Because Emo Qingyun kept hunting the leg demons, he attracted the attention of many people in the Kanglan Devil Valley, so his whereabouts were not hidden. Soon, Huang Fu Chingsong got the whereabouts of Emo Qingyun after some inquiries. Kanglan Black River? After knowing the location of Emo Qingyun, Fang Yuan's expression became indifferent and he said coldly, "Senior fellow apprentice Chingsong, let's go to the Kanglan Black River." Then, Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong got up and rushed to the Kanglan Black River. In the new month, I need some recommendation votes, monthly votes and rewards. Chapter 893. After a while, Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong came to the vicinity of the Kanglan Black River and began to look for Emo Qingyun. After searching for a while, they found Wu Dun, who was practicing on the bank of the Kanglan Black River. "Senior fellow apprentice Fang, do you think that person's appearance is similar to the description of those who inquired?" Looking at Wu Dun, who was practicing on the bank of the river, Huang Fu Chingsong frowned slightly and asked Fang Yuan with surprise. "It is indeed a little similar. As for whether it is that person or not, let's go and ask." Fang Yuan looked at Wu Dun in front of him and walked directly to Wu Dun, wanting to ask his identity face to face. Soon, Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong came to Wu Dun and asked, "Boy, are you Wu Dun?" Hearing that, Wu Dun, who was practicing, opened his eyes and looked at Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong. He asked, "Yes, why are you looking for me?" "It will be easy if it is you." Seeing that Wu Dun admitted his identity, Fang Yuan showed a gloomy smile and said indifferently, "Tell us, where is Emo Qingyun now? Who are you? Why do you look for Brother Emo?" Hearing that Fang Yuan asked about Emo Qingyun, Wu Dun instinctively raised his vigilance and looked at Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong with hostility. From the words of Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Chingsong, Wu Dun could feel that these two people might be unfavorable to Emo Qingyun. "Boy, if you don't want to suffer physical pain, tell us honestly where is Emo Qingyun." Seeing Wu Dun's reaction, Fang Yuan sneered and said a threatening sentence. Seeing Wu Dun's reaction at this moment, Fang Yuan was sure that Wu Dun should know the whereabouts of Emo Qingyun. "I don't know what you are talking about. If you have nothing else, please leave here." For Fang Yuan's words, Wu Dun pretended to be puzzled and answered indifferently. Looks like you're planning to refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Upon seeing Wu Dun's actions, the corners of Huang Fu Qingsong's mouth curled up slightly as a cold smile appeared on his face. As soon as Huang Fu Qingsong finished speaking, he did not say anything more to Wu Dun. He drew his sword and slashed at Wu Dun. Mystery Dragon Sword Art, Sky-Breaking Dragon Shadow. Huang Fu Qingsong brandished his sword, and the long sword in his hand immediately glowed with dazzling sword light, turning into 3 dragon shadows with threatening auras. 3 streaks of dragon-shaped sword light burst out and swept towards Wu Dun from 3 different angles. Tyrannical Lion Fist Technique, Heaven-Shaking Lion Roar. Facing the attack of the 3 streaks of dragon-shaped sword light, Wu Dun did not retreat or dodge. He clenched his fists, stepped out with his right leg, and roared directly to the sky. Suddenly, Wu Dun's body shone with golden light and condensed into a lion's shadow, rushing towards the 3 streaks of dragon-shaped sword light. Bang, bang, bang! Facing the impact of the lion's shadow, the 3 streaks of dragon-shaped sword light were instantly defeated and dissipated between heaven and earth. After defeating the dragon-shaped sword light, the lion shadow's attack speed did not decrease at all, and continued to attack Huang Fu Qingsong. It turns out that you have some ability. No wonder you dare to be so arrogant. Seeing that Wu Dun easily resolved Huang Fu Qingsong's sword, Fang Yuan was a little surprised, and his eyes became gloomy. Then, a fierce momentum emanated from Fang Yuan's body. Fang Yuan made a gesture of controlling the sword, pointed at the long sword in his hand, and controlled it to fly to the sky in front of Huang Fu Qingsong. Shura swordsmanship, stone sword falling from the sky. The stone sword shadow flashed with cold light, and fell from the air quickly, forming a sword curtain in front of Huang Fu Qingsong. Puff, puff, puff! Faced with the attacks of these stone sword phantoms, the lion phantoms were instantly blasted into pieces, becoming like honeycombs. After defeating Wu Dun's attack with one sword, Fang Yuan waved his right hand in the air, took back the long sword in the air, and continued to attack Wu Dun. Shura swordsmanship, ghost flame gale. After a few flashes, Fang Yuan came to the front of Wu Dun, and waved several swords at Wu Dun. In an instant, a red storm with surging heat waves broke out from Fang Yuan's long sword, and attacked Wu Dun overbearingly. Tyrannical lion punching, fist breaking the sky. Facing the attack of several heat waves and storms, Wu Dun did not dare to be careless, and punched several times at the approaching red storm. Bang, bang, bang! Every time Wu Dun punched the red storm, it would make a loud noise and burst out a dazzling golden light. However, the power of these red storm was too strong. Even if it was bombarded by Wu Dun's punches, it still did not suffer any damage. At this moment, when Wu Dun bombarded the red storm, Fang Yuan stabbed him again with his long sword. Facing the attack of the red storm, Wu Dun was already in a hurry. Being attacked by Fang Yuan again, he naturally could not avoid it. Puff! Fang Yuan's long sword directly pierced Wu Dun's chest, leaving a hideous wound. Blood instantly dyed Wu Dun's clothes red. At the same time, under the bombardment of Fang Yuan's sword, Wu Dun was also blown out. He fell heavily to the ground and spat blood. After blowing Wu Dun away, Fang Yuan did not stop and caught up with Wu Dun again. He put his sword on Wu Dun's neck and said, "If you don't want to die, tell me immediately where Mo Qingyun is." "Humph! Don't dream. Even if you kill me, I will not tell you where Brother Mo is." Wu Dun raised his head and no longer looked at Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Qingsong. He acted as if he could be killed or tortured at will. "Very good. Since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." Seeing Wu Dun's action, Fang Yuan's eyes became cold. He wanted to kill Wu Dun directly. "Senior fellow apprentice Fang, please wait a minute." Seeing Fang Yuan's action, Huang Fu Qingsong suddenly rolled his eyes and said with a cold smile, Senior fellow apprentice Fong, I heard that Emo Qingyun values friendship. If he knows that Wu Dun is in our hands, he should be very worried. At that time, even if we don't go to him, I'm afraid that he will take the initiative to come to us. Oh, this is a good idea. Hearing Huang Fu Qingsong's suggestion, Fang Yuan smiled coldly and nodded in agreement. In this case, junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, do you have any good ideas? At this moment, when Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Qingsong were talking, Brother Wu, this time our cultivation has improved greatly. We can definitely kill Mo Qingyun and Wu Dun. Humph! I didn't expect that they both hid in the Kanglan Black River. Even so, they will definitely die this time. With gloomy expressions, the two young men slowly approached the Kanglan Black River, exuding a sense of coldness. As they continued to approach, they soon saw Wu Dun lying on the ground. Wu Dun, you are really here. Where is Mo Qingyun? After seeing Wu Dun, Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao were surprised and their expressions became gloomy. Got it. Looking at Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao slowly approaching, Huang Fu Qingsong smiled playfully and walked towards them. Xianlong swordsmanship, tornadoes scattered clouds. When he came in front of Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao, Huang Fu Qingsong did not talk nonsense with them and directly attacked them. Bang, bang! Huang Fu Qingsong was a master ranked 57th on the Divine Land Heroes list. Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao could resist him, but they were instantly blown away by Huang Fu Qingsong. After defeating Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao with a single slash, Huang Fu Qingsong did not stop there. He quickly arrived before them and took out 2 pills for them to consume. He said, "What I just gave you is the poison sword heart-shattering pill. If you don't want to die, do as I say. Say, Senior, as long as you don't kill us, we will do anything you want us to do." After witnessing Huang Fu Qingsong's strength, Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao panicked. They quickly patted their chests and promised. All right. Huang Fu Qingsong nodded his head in satisfaction when he saw Wu Yongjun and Li Chie's reaction. He instructed, "Wait for this person here. If you see him, tell him that his friend Wu Chunfeng has been captured by us. If he wants to save Wu Chunfeng, he has to come to the Kanglan City Lord's estate to find us." Mo Qingyun, Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao were shocked when they saw the portrait in Huang Fu Qingsong's hand. They were surprised by Huang Fu Qingsong's instructions. "The two of you actually know him?" Huang Fu Qingsong was also surprised. He did not expect Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao to actually know Mo Qingyun. This made things easier. Since you know Mo Qingyun, everything will be much more convenient. Huang Fu Qingsong revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He nodded to Wu Yongjun and the other man, and then instructed, "Next, you will pass the message to Mo Qingyun according to what I said just now. Understand? Senior, don't worry. We will definitely pass the message to Mo Qingyun." Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao nodded again when they heard Huang Fu Qingsong's instructions. All right. Huang Fu Qingsong nodded in satisfaction when he saw Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao's attitude. He said, "If the two of you do well, come find me at the Kanglan City Lord's mansion. I will naturally give you the antidote." "Yes, we will definitely not disappoint you," Wu Yongjun and Tang Youtao hurriedly promised. "Senior fellow apprentice Fang, let's go." Seeing that everything was explained, Huang Fu Qingsong walked to Fang Yuan and nodded to him. Then, Fang Yuan and Huang Fu Qingsong left the Kanglan Black River with Wu Dun and returned to Kanglan City. Mo Qingyun, who was in the midst of cultivation, was naturally oblivious to what was happening in the outside world. At this moment, he was refining the source of Leg Devil in the 5 Directions Tower. A few days later, in the 5 Directions Tower, after continuous refining these days, Mo Qingyun finally completely refined the source of Leg Devil. As Mo Qingyun completely refined the source of Leg Devil, his mind suddenly buzzed, and a huge amount of information appeared. This huge amount of information recorded a martial arts technique of inheritance, traceless magic. Traceless magic was the same as Magic Fist shattering the Milky Way. They were both bloodline-inherited martial arts of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. However, traceless magic was an inherited martial arts technique of body movement. It could be said that it was the martial arts technique that Emo Qingyun lacked most now. Once Emo Qingyun practiced traceless magic, his strength would definitely be doubled. Traceless magic is a good martial arts technique. If I practice it successfully, it can make up for my shortcomings in speed. Chapter 894. The Traceless Spectre was divided into 3 levels: shadow following, distance shrinking, and body following thought. Shadow following, as the name implied, when this level was cultivated to the extreme, one's body could be like a shadow, closely following others. As for distance shrinking, if this level was cultivated to the extreme, one step could cover a distance of 10,000 miles, making the distance as wide as a chasm become as short as an inch. Body following thought was the highest level of the traceless spectre. Once this level was cultivated to the extreme, one only needed a thought to go to any place one wanted to go. It was even more powerful than teleportation. After carefully observing the description of the traceless spectre, Emo Qingyun's understanding of the traceless spectre became clearer. It was only at this moment that he truly understood how powerful the traceless spectre was. From the description of the traceless spectre, this was simply a peerless martial art for killing and escaping. It seems that I underestimated the power of the traceless spectre just now. This is truly worthy of being a bloodline-inherited martial art of the Heavenly Soul Demon clan. The more he discovered the power of the traceless spectre, the more excited Emo Qingyun became. His face was filled with pleasant surprise. Following this, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began to cultivate the traceless spectre. The entry level of the traceless spectre was not difficult. In addition, Emo Qingyun's Heavenly Soul Demon clan bloodline was powerful, so he quickly reached the entry level. Several hours later, Emo Qingyun took a step forward and 3 afterimages appeared behind him, following him like shadows. Looking at the 3 afterimages behind him, Emo Qingyun revealed a faint smile and said with a somewhat excited expression, "I already have 3 afterimages. If I can reach 8 afterimages, my traceless spectre will enter the small success level." After thinking about this, Emo Qingyun did not slack off at all. He put in even more effort to cultivate. 5 days later, when Emo Qingyun was walking, the number of afterimages behind him had already reached 4. Half a month later, the number of afterimages behind Emo Qingyun increased again, reaching 5. 2 months later, under Emo Qingyun's continuous cultivation, the number of afterimages he could create finally reached 8. This meant that he had cultivated Traceless Phantom to the level of minor accomplishment. In addition, during this period of cultivation, Emo Qingyun had not only cultivated Traceless Demon Shadow to the initial level, but his strength in other aspects had also improved significantly. Firstly, his cultivation had broken through from the 7th level to the peak of the 8th level in these 2 months. He was only a step away from the 9th level. This was also because he did not deliberately cultivate. Otherwise, his current cultivation would definitely be much higher. Secondly, after Emo Qingyun refined the origin of the Leg Devil, the density of his Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline had increased by more than 2 times. As his Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline became stronger, the power of his Heavenly Soul Demon Eye also became stronger. It was several times stronger than before. If I use my saber light now, it will be enough to threaten a transcendent 3rd-level expert. Emo Qingyun revealed an excited expression when he saw the might of the saber light in his eyes. A sense of ecstasy rose in his heart. The extent of the saber light's increase had greatly exceeded his expectations. It made him feel as if he had fallen from the sky. Lastly, due to the increase in the strength of his bloodline, Emo Qingyun's physical body had also become much stronger. The toughness of his body was comparable to an ordinary low-grade artifact. Now, he could be considered a true Heavenly Soul Demon. He had the powerful Heavenly Soul Demon body and Heavenly Soul Demon eye, as well as several Heavenly Soul Demon bloodline martial arts. Right now, if I use all my trump cards, I should be able to put up a fight against a transcendent 5th-level expert and barely survive against a transcendent 6th-level expert. After testing all of Emo Qingyun's methods, Emo Qingyun had a rough understanding of his own strength. He beamed with joy. If that's the case, with my current strength, I should be able to protect myself as long as I don't encounter an expert with a high level of transcendent divine ability. Since I've cultivated Traceless to minor accomplishment, it's time to leave the Kanglan Black River. Emo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction after performing a comprehensive test of his strength. He left the 5 directional towers in a flash. After leaving the 5 directional towers, Emo Qingyun did not stay any longer. He swam towards the place he had agreed to meet with Wu Dun. Several hours later, Emo Qingyun arrived at the place he had agreed to meet with Wu Dun. However, to Emo Qingyun's surprise, Wu Dun was nowhere to be seen. Instead, he saw Wu Yongjun and his companion. Such a scene was somewhat abnormal. Why are the two of them here? Where did Wu Dun go? Did something happen to him? Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw Wu Yongjun and his companion smiling coldly. A sense of uneasiness and worry rose in his heart. He believed that with Wu Dun's character, he would never do anything that was too late. While Emo Qingyun was doubtful and looking at Wu Yongjun and his companion in confusion, Wu Yongjun and his companion walked towards him. Emo Qingyun, you're finally willing to show yourself. Wu Yongjun walked up to Emo Qingyun with a sinister smile. He looked at Emo Qingyun and said proudly, "Are you looking for Wu Dun? Do you want us to tell you?" Emo Qingyun, if you want to know where Wu Dun is, kneel down and beg us. That's right, if you kneel down and beg us, maybe we'll be happy and tell you where Wu Dun is. In an instant, Wu Yongjun and Tang Yongtao's faces were filled with pride. In their eyes, they had finally caught Emo Qingyun's weakness and could take revenge for what happened earlier. Beg you? There's no need to go through so much trouble. Emo Qingyun shook his head mockingly at Wu Yongjun and his companion's proud actions. He said coldly, "Since you don't want to tell me, I'll find the answer myself." Soul-stealing demon. As Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he didn't say anything more to Wu Yongjun and his companion. He directly used his innate ability. Then, a purple light flashed out from Emo Qingyun's left eye and instantly blasted onto Wu Yongjun's body. Under the attack of the purple light, Wu Yongjun immediately screamed and his face was filled with fear. At the same time, an illusory figure slowly emerged from Wu Yongjun's head. It was Wu Yongjun's soul. "Emo Qingyun, what did you do to me?" Seeing his soul being ripped out from his body by Emo Qingyun, Wu Yongjun instantly panicked and spoke in a panic. Then Wu Yongjun didn't dare to show off anymore and hurriedly begged Emo Qingyun for mercy. "Emo Qingyun, I was wrong, please spare me, as long as you let me go, I'll tell you where Wu Dun is immediately." Too late. Emo Qingyun chose to ignore Wu Yongjun's pleas for mercy. He said a few cold words and increased the strength of his soul stripping. He shouted, "Come out!" Chapter 895. Soul Search. Grabbing Wu Yongjun's soul in his hand, Emo Qingyun didn't say anything else and directly pinched his soul's head. A shocking soul force erupted from Emo Qingyun's palm and invaded Wu Yongjun's head. Under the impact of Emo Qingyun's soul force, Wu Yongjun's consciousness was quickly scattered, and the memories in his head were read by Emo Qingyun bit by bit. A moment later, Under the barbaric erosion of Mo Qingyun's soul force, Wu Yongjun's soul finally couldn't bear the burden and completely dissipated. Seeing Wu Yongjun's soul dissipate, Mo Qingyun withdrew his right hand and placed it behind his back. He raised his head and looked into the distance. At this moment, he already knew who was the culprit. Huang Fu Qingsong, so it was you who did it. Knowing that it was Huang Fu Qingsong who took action to take away Wu Dun, Mo Qingyun's expression darkened, and his body emitted a murderous intent. He asked himself and knew that he didn't have any enmity with Huang Fu Qingsong. Huang Fu Qingsong doing this at this moment was undoubtedly touching his reverse scale. Huang Fu Qingsong, since you want to die, I can only fulfill your wish. Mo Qingyun, since you already know who did it, can you let me go? Looking at the dead Wu Yongjun whose soul had dissipated, Tang Yongtao revealed a horrified expression and begged Mo Qingyun for mercy. Let you go. Hearing Tang Yongtao's words, Mo Qingyun sneered and shook his head. He said coldly, since Wu Yongjun is already dead, there's no point in you continuing to live. Go down and accompany him. As soon as he finished speaking, Mo Qingyun struck out a palm at Tang Yongtao, blasting out a huge palm that covered the sky. And no! Under the cover of this huge palm, Tang Yongtao even forgot to escape. His face was filled with despair. Now that Mo Qingyun's essence force was so robust that it was already comparable to someone at the third level of the God Power realm, it was naturally not something Tang Yongtao could resist. Bang! The huge palm landed, and Tang Yongtao was directly smashed into the ground. All the bones in his body were shattered, and his aura was completely gone. After killing Tang Yongtao with a single palm, Mo Qingyun didn't stay any longer. He got up and walked out of the Kanglan Devil Valley. A moment later, Mo Qingyun arrived outside the valley and walked towards Qi Lian and the rest who had been waiting for a long time. Young lord. When they saw Mo Qingyun approaching, Qi Lian and the others revealed respectful expressions as they bowed to him one after another. Qi, you've broken through to the 9th level realm. Qi Lian's a pleasant surprise. Qi's heart's. This was SSSSSSS. TSSS? SSS is? Not long ago, one of Yunjin's enemies came looking for us. After we killed him together, I refined his blood essence. In response to Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Qi Lian had a respectful expression on his face and truthfully told the story. I see. Mo Qingyun nodded after hearing Qi Lian's explanation. His expression turned serious as he said, I have an important matter to attend to. I need to make a trip to the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion. Come with me. Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion? Sha Yunjin frowned when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. His expression turned serious as he said, Young lord, not long ago, I heard from my subordinates that Li He's eldest disciple, Iron Wing, is staying in the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion. If I go there openly, I'm afraid I'll be in trouble. Iron Wing? Does Li He have such a disciple? Mo Qingyun was puzzled. Based on his understanding of Li He's disciples, Iron Wing didn't seem to be among them. Young lord, Iron Wing was Li He's disciple over 20 years ago. Therefore, he's not very famous. Sha Yunjin explained when he saw Mo Qingyun's puzzled expression. He then continued with a solemn expression, however, Iron Wing's talent is extremely terrifying. After he became Li He's disciple, his cultivations has reached a new level every year. Furthermore, his comprehension of various martial arts is also terrifying. Now, he's the #1 on the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain aside from Li He. Li He actually accepted such a disciple. Hearing Sha Yunjin's description of Iron Wing, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but show some surprise. He was silent for a moment and then said, In that case, you guys go back to Kanglan City first. I'll go to the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion alone. Young lord, it's too dangerous. Knowing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Sha Yunjin and the others were nervous and hurriedly persuaded Mo Qingyun. Don't worry, I only have one way. In response to Sha Yunjin and the others' worries, Mo Qingyun gave them a comforting smile and used the hidden door. Mo Qingyun used the hidden door and his figure disappeared in front of Qi Lian and the others. He's gone. Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, everyone's expression was shocked and showed strong surprise. They didn't expect Mo Qingyun to have such a method. In this case, there would be no problem for Mo Qingyun to go to the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion. Seeing everyone's relieved expression, Mo Qingyun gave them some instructions and set off for the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion. At this time, in the Kanglan City's City Lord's mansion, Lang Ping, do you have a way to make Xie submit? Looking at Lang Ping standing in front of him, Huang Fu Qingsong showed an unhappy expression and said indifferently, "If you can't even do this, we don't need to keep you. Childs, don't be angry. I have successfully configured the mind-absorbing ecstasy aphrodisiac. As long as it is put in Xie's room, Xie will definitely become unrestrained." Hearing Huang Fu Qingsong's unhappy words, Lang Ping showed a nervous expression and quickly responded. He sneered and said, "Although Xie is protected by the spirit of the fairy fox, if she inhales the mind-absorbing ecstasy aphrodisiac, even her spirit of the fairy fox will become unrestrained. At that time, child Fang Yuan can enjoy her service." Hearing Lang Ping's words, Fang Yuan showed a cold smile and couldn't wait to say, "In this case, what are you doing here? Go and light the mind-absorbing ecstasy aphrodisiac. I can't wait." "Yes, I'll do it." Hearing Fang Yuan's urging, Lang Ping didn't dare to hesitate and immediately went to do it. "Congratulations, senior fellow apprentice Fang. You can get the beauty soon." Seeing that Lang Ping went to do something, Huang Fu Qingsong showed a flattering smile and congratulated Fang Yuan with folded hands. "Junior fellow apprentice Qingsong, don't worry. After I play with her, I will definitely let you enjoy her taste." Hearing Huang Fu Qingsong's flattering words, Fang Yuan smiled proudly and promised Huang Fu Qingsong, "In this case, I thank senior fellow apprentice Fang first." Hearing Fang Yuan's words, Huang Fu Qingsong's eyes brightened and he thanked Fang Yuan again. Chapter 896. Half an hour later, Mo Qingyun arrived outside the Kanglan City Governor's mansion and used the concealment door to conceal himself. After concealing himself, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and walked into the Kanglan City Governor's mansion. After entering the mansion, Mo Qingyun did not rush to start his search. Instead, he captured a few guards and forcibly stripped their memories. In the dungeon, after stripping the guards' memories, Mo Qingyun found out where Wu Dun was imprisoned. Following the guards' memories, he went to the dungeon. Not long after, a dark and damp dungeon appeared before Mo Qingyun's eyes. "This is the place." Seeing the dungeon in front of him, Mo Qingyun scanned the surroundings and took in the terrain around the dungeon. After figuring out the terrain around the dungeon, Mo Qingyun released his soul power and began to search for Wu Dun in the dungeon. After searching for a while, Mo Qingyun found Wu Dun in a corner of the dungeon. At this moment, Wu Dun's hair was disheveled and his clothes were tattered. There were hideous wounds on his body, and he was in a sorry state. Teleportation Gate. After finding Wu Dun in the dungeon, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any time and stepped into the light vortex in front of him. Then, the light vortex trembled and disappeared on the spot. After a while, the space in Wu Dun's cell suddenly trembled and an obscure crack appeared. After the crack appeared, a figure quietly walked out from it. This figure was naturally Mo Qingyun, who had walked into the teleportation gate. Dang, dang, dang. After walking out of the teleportation gate, Mo Qingyun held the scorching flame halberd in his hand and broke the chains that bound Wu Dun. After the chains that bound Wu Dun were broken, Wu Dun's body went limp and fell to the ground. At the same time, Wu Dun, who was in a coma, woke up with a start. Seeing Mo Qingyun in front of him, Wu Dun was shocked and worried. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun appeared in the dungeon at this moment. Could it be that he was also captured by Huang Fu Qingsong? It's not easy to talk here. Let me take you out of here first. Before Wu Dun could speak, Mo Qingyun interrupted him and said with a serious expression, I'll take you to a place now. If you feel it's tearing you, don't resist. Okay. Although Wu Chunfeng had some doubts about Mo Qingyun's words, he still nodded without hesitation. In his opinion, the dungeon was full of danger and it was not the time to be soft-hearted. He believed that Mo Qingyun would explain to him when they were out of danger. Then, Mo Qingyun controlled the 5-directional small pagoda and took Wu Dun in. The teleportation gate. After sending Wu Dun into the 5-directional small pagoda, Mo Qingyun did not stay and left the dungeon. In an elegant room in the city lord's mansion. The room was filled with red curtains and there was a huge bathtub in the middle. A fairy-like beauty sat in the bathtub. The contours of her soft face, delicate facial features, delicate skin, and the curves of her breasts. All of this proved that the woman in the bathtub was a rare beauty in this world. At this moment, the room was filled with a strange fragrance. This fragrance was very unique. It was dreamy, tranquil, and lustful. In short, after smelling this fragrance, one would unconsciously sink into it. A wave of lust would be produced in one's body, and one would be unable to extricate oneself. After the maids in the room smelled the fragrance, their faces all turned red, and they let out sounds of intoxication as they gently undid their robes. Looking at the reactions of the maids around her, the beauty in the bathtub was shocked and said, "The mind-absorbing ecstasy fragrance. Someone lit this fragrance in the room. Lang Ping, it must be him." After a short moment of shock, the beauty guessed the culprit and her expression became cold. However, if one were to look carefully, one would be able to see that a crimson color had appeared on her face, and her gaze had become blurred. This beauty was none other than Xie, who came here with the iron wing. Oh no! The mind-absorbing ecstasy fragrance has already invaded my mind. I'm afraid I can't resist it for long. What should I do? Sensing that something was wrong with her situation, Xiyu revealed a worried expression. A sense of anxiousness rose up in her heart. If I can't find a solution within 15 minutes, I'm afraid my rationality will be replaced by the desire in my mind. Clatter. At this time, when Xie picked up her clothes and was about to put them on, a jade slip fell to the ground. This jade slip. Looking at the jade slip on the ground, Xie's expression changed. She couldn't help but think of Mo Qingyun and said secretly, "Can he save me?" After a short hesitation, Xie no longer thought about it and transmitted a thought to the jade slip. Squeak! At this moment, before Xie got a reply from the jade slip, the door of the room was pushed open. At the moment when the door was pushed open, a young man with an evil smile came in from outside and closed the door again. This person was naturally Fang Yuan, who had evil thoughts about Xie. After entering the room, Fang Yuan walked to Xie step by step. He looked at Xie unscrupulously and said, "I have seen countless women, but I have never seen a woman like you. Today I must appreciate you. Child Fang Yuan, please show some respect." Seeing Fang Yuan's behavior, Xie showed an angry expression and said indifferently, "If you are rude to me again, I will tell Senior Iron Wing about your behavior. Aren't you afraid that Senior Iron Wing will be dissatisfied with you because of this? Beauty, you want to scare me with Senior Fellow Apprentice Tai. I'm afraid your idea will fail." For Xie's threatening words, Fang Yuan shook his head indifferently. He was more complacent and said, "When we have sex, even if Senior Fellow Apprentice Tai knows it, he will not blame me because of his care for me. So, you'd better obey me obediently." After Fang Yuan finished his words, he rushed to Xie and wanted to force himself on her. However, Sia's cultivation was in the second hurdle of the magical power. Although she was in a trance at this moment, it was not so easy for others to succeed. At present, when Fang Yuan wanted to occupy Sia, Mo Qingyun, who was about to leave the Lord's mansion of Kanglan City, suddenly stopped. This soul sound transmission asking for help came from the jade slip I gave Sia. Could it be that she's in trouble? After receiving Sia's message for help, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and felt surprised. Then, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and sensed the location of the jade slip. Is the jade slip in the Lord's mansion of Kanglan City? Is Sia in the Lord's mansion of Kanglan City? After sensing the location of the jade slip, Mo Qingyun was more surprised. He didn't know where Sia was. However, Mo Qingyun didn't think much. Since Sia asked for help through the jade slip, it meant that she was in danger and couldn't be delayed. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.